Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. A lot of college hoops last night. That was a dominant story. The Aggies win at home, the Utes win on the road, and the Cougars fall at Arizona. So many things to get to. Let's start with the University of Utah. They hadn't won a road game since January 15th last year, and they went and beat West Virginia. If you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe how it played out. They got off to a 9-0 lead. It was 18-3. And then they slowly got reeled in. And kind of a 10-point game there, and it really felt like it should have been 20. It was so hard for them to score. I kept waiting for Dawes to get going in that game. And he's averaging like 13-8, 13-9 for him and all that, and a 5.5 rebound game. Would have never thought, with his size and athletic ability, that they would win on the road with him having a subpar performance. And yet they got it done. They defended, and West Virginia made some curious decisions. Took some wild shots, turned the ball over in the clutch, just gave it away. And the Utes made enough free throws. They did miss some, but they made enough free throws down the stretch, and they won 61-56. It was a grind. There were a couple stretches where it looked like both teams started to get untracked on offense, and then it just didn't happen. But the Utes pick up win number 10 on the year. It's their second conference win. It's their first road win in more than a year, as they told us on the broadcast many times. 399 days. And they got it done, and that has got to feel good. And if you've never been on a team that struggled, ultimately the big picture doesn't matter. Alex has to bring in a lot of talent in the offseason, and I expect there'll be a lot of change on the roster. Maybe some of the key guys, a few of them, can stay and they can build off of that. But in the here and now, when you've been losing, it is just good to win a game. So they beat West Virginia, who is, loosely a bubble team on the wrong side of the bubble from, apparently. And that certainly didn't help, losing the last place team in the league. And then we'll see how the Utes finish out. They got 5 games left. Maybe they can win a few games here, get a little momentum. They have some tough games left. They still got Iowa State coming up, the UCF next. But down the stretch, Baylor could be winnable. Arizona State could be winnable. Colorado could be winnable. We'll see how they finish out these final half dozen games before they go off to the conference tournament. But got to be good for Alex Jensen and the guys to get that win. They have been defending better, holding some teams to some lower point totals, and they did enough to win on the road, and that has got to make for a happy playing flight. There's no way around it. Now, for BYU and Utah State, obviously the stakes are higher. While the Utes do their rebuild thing here, the other two are trying to get to the NCAA tournament, get good seeding, and set themselves up. And the Aggies, at home against Boise State, did not get off to a great start. They trailed in the game. I was watching the other 2 games finish up, so I didn't see the start of that one. I picked it up just as they caught fire. They were down, and they went on a run there in the middle of the first half and wiped out a fairly significant deficit. It was like a 9-0 run to take the lead, and then they extended, and then they just dominated. That was, 10 rough minutes, but the last 30, it was just all Utah State, and they win comfortably. They sweep Boise State, and both comfortable wins. And they get that victory at the Spectrum. It was a good crowd. They were going nuts. Super balanced game for them. There was no one guy, Templin's been coming on with some big games. He gave him 7 points off the bench. Falslev led the way with 17 points, and, made half his shots. But Boise State really struggled. They got down. You think, you got to score, get a couple stops, score 3 possessions in a row. With the 3-point shot, that could be a 7-8-0 run. It can change the momentum, get you back in it. There's never a sniff of that from Boise State. I thought that was just a really complete team performance from Utah State. And obviously the schedule is going to get tougher for them. They're going to Nevada on the weekend and then to San Diego State the middle of next week. And they're a game up on the Aztecs in the standings, and 2 up on New Mexico and 3 on Grand Canyon. But they've taken care of business here. They had 3 games in a row at home. You knew they needed to win them. They did. And they sit there in first place in the league now. 25 wins looks like a foregone conclusion. I don't know if they can get to 30. But the real prize is the regular season title, the tournament title, and can you win in the NCAA tournament? 1 game's a big deal. 2 would be an enormous deal for Utah State, given their tournament history. That's where it all sets up. And that was just a thorough workmanlike performance Can you find stuff wrong with it? Probably, especially in the opening minutes. But man, I thought that was 30 minutes of really good basketball down the stretch. All right, we'll take a break right now. When we come back, post-game comments from the Aggies and post-game comments from the Cougars. They are coming up. We'll get to that BYU game as well. Stay with us. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. College basketball, the story of the night. Utah State dominates Boise State 75-56. It was a heck of a win for Utah State. Just really solid. It didn't start out great, but they turned that thing around. They had a little blip there, but man, they got that fixed. They went on a run there to end the half. And they just could not be stopped after that. It was really impressive. I think they were down like 23-21 with about 6 minutes to go in the half. Finished the half on a 9-0 run, and then dominated from there. Let's get thoughts from post-game thoughts from Jerrod Calhoun, the head coach, right here on the Zone.
Defensively, it really felt like you guys put on a clinic there, especially in the second half. Yeah, it was the best one I've been a part of in a long, long time to hold team that came into the game, number 2 in the league in offense, 82.5 a game. They were 5th in the country in their last 9 games scoring the basketball. So we really wanted to stay connected throughout possessions, finish possessions with rebounding the basketball. And I thought there was a ton of guys you could give the game ball to. Mason carried us in the second half offensively, but I thought Zach Keller and some of those guys off the bench were unbelievable. But a lot of guys gave great efforts tonight. You mentioned that, sorry, Spencer, you mentioned that Zach usually can only go about 2.5 minutes at a time. He went 7. Yeah. I didn't get him out to the 13:30 mark. You ran that horse hard tonight. I mean, if he plays like that, that takes it to another level, right? I mean, you can, pick and pop. He and Gary, I've been saying all year, they can guard. Adlin can guard. To hold his team to 56, unbelievable. Shout out to the crowd. We got dumped on, this morning with this snow, and to see a sold-out crowd, people just so committed to this program. And, of course, the herd, I thought there was just a nice vibe tonight, and everybody that came in the game contributed.
So, 2 things. Keller was aggressive offensively. He was looking for his shot.
He was.
I mean, where did that come? I mean, where did it come from?
What's kind of a shame. I only get to coach him 5 more regular season games, and I hope a whole bunch more after that. The thing with Zach Keller is he just needs confidence. His teammates absolutely love him. He's been coming, man, since the Wyoming game. He's been on a mission. Practice habits have been really good. And, I think he knows we're inching toward a NCAA tournament berth, and that's something he's never been a part of. Colby King's never been a part of. We got all these freshmen that need the experience. They're just really committed right now, Spence. Our practices have been good. Our scout team is really, really good. Everything's competitive in the program right now, and the difference I've been saying between last year and this is the defense.
Scotty, I just got to ask one more.
Yep.
You talk about defensively elite. It felt like around with 6-7 minutes to go, the tip of the spear just tightened up. It felt like Drake and MJ up top. No one could get comfortable. No, Dylan dribbling the ball for 23 seconds. No one could get comfortable. And they didn't score in the final 5 minutes and 10 seconds of the first half. And then it just carried on to the second half.
I think we have some of the best perimeter defenders in the country when they're locked into the details. We talked about a couple things going in this game. Like, if we want to win a league championship, get to the NCAA tournament, finish this thing better than last year, it's all about the details. It really is. What pick and roll coverage are you in? I thought Colby King, when he came in the game, very, very disruptive, turning guys end line to end line. It wears on you, Spence. Like, when you're a point guard like that, you're the only one handling the ball pretty much for them. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on them. And I think Coach Duryea, I've told him before the game, I watched like 8 games. I've been watching a lot of tape on these guys. He's been elite in his play calls. Tim Duryea has been awesome. They've been executing, scoring, and Dylan Andrews has grown a lot for their team. They're going to be very, very dangerous come the conference tournament. They've lost an incredible amount of close games. They've kind of been snake-bitten. But I thought Tim's play calls the last 8 or 9 games and his decision-making. So we wanted to make it really hard on Dylan the whole game. Whoever was on him, really, really pressure the ball. And I thought we did a good job. He was 4 for 11. But more importantly, only had 2 assists.
Yeah.
Drake Allen may not have a big number in terms of the points, but he ends up with 6 assists, but more importantly, 0 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, Drake's his confidence. He's a little bit like Zach Keller, right? You've got to really spend time with those guys. Drake's going to be critical down the stretch. He's a senior. He's been in a lot of games. We had a team retreat, and before the year, all he talked about was we got to finish our season stronger. It really bothered him the way we finished our year out last year. So things that, you don't see, like, practice habits, leadership at practice, the huddles tonight. I thought Drake was elite in and out of huddles, huddling guys, and just his voice. Him and Mason got to really, really ramp it up. We go now 2 on the road, 2 very, very difficult places to play, 2 elite coaches, 2 elite teams, right? And we got to have 2 good days really late. Hopefully the guys can calm down tonight, get some rest, and, we'll be back at it tomorrow.
There was a moment when you're down 21-14 and you're coming out of the timeout. Mason comes into the game, and he's making the motion like, hey, let's get it going. Let's get it going. And just those little verbal cues, you need that from your leaders.
We couldn't make a 3 and we couldn't make a layup, to be honest with you. And sometimes it's, the other team. I thought we got great shots early in the game. I thought we would have scored 90, 95 if we would have played better in the first half. We had 30. We should have had about 42. We left a lot of points. Mace missed a couple floaters. But the thing about Mace is he doesn't get down. Like some players, when they're not making shots, they'll get down and it'll affect their next. We just say play green. I was really proud of them, to hold them to 23 in the first half and struggle offensively. That's growth for us. That's a team that I told them at halftime, you have to be able to navigate through a game, win ugly, win pretty. Whatever the game takes, you got to find a way to win, and that's what we did. We just kept sticking with it throughout this game.
We talked about that. It was a little bit of a different win in the sense the floodgates didn't open in transition, but the floodgates opened in the half court, right. which is very, very different. When you're sitting on the sidelines, I mean, the MO is, hey, they're going to grind, it's going to be ugly, and then all of a sudden a 13-2 run in 2 minutes, and the other team's not going to know what's going to happen. You guys, that's happening now. Do you feel when that's going to come in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing of it is we have so many offensive threats, but it's the activity defensively on the ball, right? And tonight I thought we finished a lot of plays, tough rebounds. I mean, Fielder's massive. I mean, look at it. I mean, he's 7 foot. He's a big kid. Buchanan, really strong guy. The kid that has played really well for him is Parolin, the big kid. And his stats are, they don't show up, but he's physical in there. So finishing some of those tough rebounds and getting out, it was nice. And I thought Perryman, did a nice job. I wish I could have got him more minutes, but he will. And he's great. Like, his attitude is awesome. That's the thing about this group. They really sacrifice. And they know certain nights, some guys are going to play more minutes. They get it going. But I thought every time we put somebody in, we got good energy.
Coach, I'd love to ask you more questions, but I got to save some because you're stuck with
me
on a coach's show.
You got to drive through this canyon.
He's going to get
Scotty. I'm going to be very, very short tomorrow, so I might bring Eric Kaut and Johnny Hill.
Let's go.
Because my daughter, my 11-year-old, said, "Dad, are you ever going to watch me? Are you ever going to watch one of my games?"
Oh, don't even show up.
I know it's
don't even show up.
I'm going to do 10, 15 minutes because I'm not going to miss your game, but it's in Weber. It's we got no local games, so we're always driving to Weber on Thursday night.
Wow.
So hopefully the snow will be good so these little girls
you don't have
can
to
play.
worry about Scotty driving home. He's staying at the Motel Maverick in Wellsville tonight.
This guy puts in more miles than
backseat.
anybody I've seen. I told him he can stay in my basement, man.
You're the best, Coach. Take care. Congrats.
Here's Jerrod Calhoun, Aggie coach, after they beat Boise State at home. So while the Utes win on the road and Boise State wins at home, the locals do not get the trifecta. BYU cannot win. They go to Arizona. They fall 75-68. Back and forth game for about 15 minutes. I thought Arizona, that was a good end to the half for them, and they hit a big shot. And did they get away with a hold? Yes. I've seen the detectives on social media. You have the video. There was a hold, but it didn't get called. I also thought Arizona started the second half well, and then BYU was just chasing the game from there. They just didn't have enough firepower. Dybantsa had 35 of their 68 points. He had more than half the points. 34 would have been exactly half. And he finished with 35 points, and nobody really went with him. Davis had 10. Wright had 13. They only got 6 points from the bench. They had no answers for Anthony Delorso off the bench for Arizona with 22 points. That is the most points he scored in any game in his 2 years at Arizona. And the BYU bench couldn't give him anything. The other starters couldn't give him much. It was Dybantsa was great, but you need a team, not a star player. They gave Boscovich the start, and he didn't score, and Keita only had 4 points. So just wasn't enough from BYU. They hung in there. They kept battling. They got down big. They rallied late, and then, it was a little bit like the game in Provo. They weren't down by as much, and they didn't get as close on the road, but it made it a little entertaining. But ultimately, they never really had a chance to win that game. A couple of soft turnovers late in the game kind of blunted the momentum for them, and it just didn't come together. So let's get to the post game. Kevin Young, AJ Dybantsa with the media after the game.
Why do you think your team manages to have these abilities to shrink leads or deficits like this at the end of the game? And why do you think that those things aren't happening so much earlier in the game to avoid falling down?
Yeah, I didn't think that was the case in this game. I mean, I thought it was a neck-and-neck game, and they got a little spread by getting a few offensive rebounds where they got that lead. So that's a fair question because it's happened. I didn't think what you're referring to, I didn't think was the case tonight. From a standpoint of, why didn't you do that sooner? In terms of our ability to not quit, we just got competitive guys, and I think we have a lot of belief in ourselves no matter the situation that we find ourselves in, and that was the case tonight. But again, I mean, that's a really good basketball team, right? So it's not like you can just say, go do this, and then it's going to work, right? You got to obviously give them a lot of credit because they had a lot of guys that stepped up.
AJ, you had a great night tonight. What did you see from the floor that was working for you?
I just tried to be aggressive early. Obviously, Richie's out and he brings a lot of scoring, a lot of aggressiveness. So I just tried to mimic what he gave us and try to just instill it in me because we're down a guy.
Well, blue shirt.
For both of you, just how you guys dealing with Richie being hurt and just how you became the teams come together the past few days?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. There's no getting around it. Richie Saunders, I think, epitomizes everything that's good about college basketball. Hate that he's not out there with us. I texted him on the way to shoot around, just thinking about him and missing him. So, but this is a resilient group. I just told the guys, I've been doing this for, I don't know, I think this is my either 21st or 22nd year in coaching. I never had 4 guys get hurt for the season. So we're going through it, and that's part of going through. That's sports. That's life. You hit adversity, and so I'm proud of our guys for their effort tonight and their effort in practice the last couple of days. We're trying to reinvent ourselves kind of on the fly, and I think there's a lot of good things that happened tonight. Super disappointed we weren't able to get the win, but we got a locker room that's not going to go away. I can tell you that right now, and that's going to be a dogfight every time you play BYU, and we're gonna keep pounding that rock, man, until it breaks, and it will break for us eventually.
All right, did you want to answer that, AJ?
No, you got it.
Jackson, then we'll go to you, and then Jeff.
Without Richie tonight, obviously it was still very much AJ and Rob heavy offensively. Is there anything? Do you have any concerns with the lack of scoring elsewhere tonight, or?
Of course. I thought Moo had some nice plays. We were running some actions for him that were advantageous. Tyler and Alex got to come in and knock shots down. Mihail's got to knock shots down. But, AJ and Rob have been our catalysts all year and will continue to be. And, we'll try to continue to examine where we can help other guys put them in positions where they can also be effective. But it's just the hand we're dealt right now.
Has really fared well in the last 5 minutes of both games against Arizona. How do you get more out of him through the duration with Sounders being out?
Yeah, I mean, I thought tonight, it was clear we were running stuff for him, which is, I give him a lot of credit because in a lot of ways, he was brought in here to do a role that was a lot different than the role he had last year. We were trying to use him as a 3-and-D kind of catch and shoot guy, and really he's got a lot more to offer than that. So in a lot of ways, I've kind of held him hostage, and now he's he's free to make a lot more plays, and we're going to need every bit of it. I think the way he's handled things and has been good, and so to answer your specific question, I just think is trying to run a few more things for him like we did tonight.
Coach, were you surprised at how well they shot the three? Because they've got so much strength in the paint that's not necessarily their go-to thing, but they shot it very well from deep today.
Yeah, I mean, look, we said that they were going to have to make threes to beat us, and they did. And so and we want to make other guys beat us. You have to give Del Orso credit. You know, he hasn't had a great year. Statistically, he shot the heck out of the ball tonight. So you have to give him credit. And was I surprised by it? Yes, I was. Well, that's life. Shots go in, and you got to keep competing. And you know, like I said, you just have to give their guys credit for stepping up and knocking them down.
You mentioned you liked a lot of things that you did see from your team tonight. Can you kind of expound on that and maybe specifically which things you liked?
For sure, just our attitude, number one. You know, you're playing against a storied program who's having a fantastic year. Obviously, they were down guys too. But you're in their house. We know how tough it is to play here. You know, at least, you know, for me, coming back my second time, it's a great venue. So just our response, our compete, our want to, I thought was very high. You know, in a matter of 2.5 days, we kind of upheaved our offense where we started doing things we haven't done all year. And I thought some things that we did tonight were executed extremely well, just given the situation we're in. So, you know, those are things that we'll look to build on.
Oh, Kevin, just wondering about just what you're saying about you guys. Also, Arizona losing Pete, JT Toppin goes down. What do you think about that? Is that just something that happens, or does it seem a little unusual that key guys are going down?
Yeah, it's unusual, but I mean, you know, we've all followed and played sports our whole lives, and unfortunately, injuries are part of the game. So, and so is adversity, and so you just have to figure it out, and you got to find ways. You know, I thought AJ did a lot of good things tonight, trying to carry our group. You know, when you have guys go down, you know, like they had guys step up too, right? And to the topping point, like Texas Tech's going to have guys step up, and you know, unfortunately, that's you know, sports can be brutal. But that being said, one thing I do want to say quickly is just I've really appreciated like the brotherhood of the Big 12 coaches. You know, I got several really heartfelt texts from several of the head coaches in our league about Richie. I shot a few out myself to Texas Tech, and just really appreciate like the brotherhood. It's pretty cool.
Saul, you will be back at Jackson, and then Brandon, and we'll be done.
AJ, how do you balance, you know, your scoring versus trying to get others involved, especially since there's only a few games left to go in the season as you prepare for hopefully the NCAA tournament?
I'm a natural playmaker, I believe. I grew up actually like playing the point, so it comes pretty natural to me. Just learning how to do it quicker now. At the next level, when guys double me, just try to get off it quicker so guys can get easier shots, and just spread it out from all of us.
How do you build that trust and that patience with the players that maybe you need to step up?
The trust has always been there. I've been working out with these guys since the summer. I mean, I know how they shoot it in practice. I know how hard they go in practice, so the trust is always there.
Arizona had the advantage. The first time you played in the down low, you talked about you were surprised by the three-point shooting tonight, but just advantage in the paint the first game, three-point shooting this game. Can you just talk a little bit about kind of their versatility versus maybe some of the other teams you've seen or faced this season?
Yeah, no, it's a strength of theirs for sure. Even there, I mean, you know, I thought we did as good of a job of any team in terms of negating their bigs when we played them at home and kept them off the glass. I think we held them to a season low in second chance points. And then Burries and Bradley killed us, you know. And so that was something we tried to take away today and crowd the paint a little bit more. And then, then it was the shooting, right? And so you have to give their coaching staff credit for putting a team together that can hurt you in a lot of different ways. And, you know, that's a really sign of a good team where you can win, you know, multiple ways. So, again, credit to those guys for that.
You tried some really unique or new rotations of lineups throughout the game. Does the prospect of doing that more down the stretch, does that give you any more optimism? I mean, it's a really tough rest of the regular season, but being able to do new stuff with lineups and rotations.
Yeah, it does give me optimism because I thought our execution, I was pleasantly surprised at how well we executed some of the new stuff we tried. But look, man, everything's on the table. You know, not, and I won't sit here and make it story time, but like, this is something very used to. I was coaching in the minor leagues for 9 years. You know, I had two of my best players called up right before a game before when I was a coach in that league. And you have to reinvent yourself. You have to keep things really simple when you're going through that. And then you got to rely on talented guys like AJ and Rob to have an understanding of what the new things are and why you're doing them, and to go out and be able to produce.
More impactful down the stretch. How big was this game potentially for him, and what impact did he have?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. I think it could be huge. You know, he's a guy, you know, he's going through a lot. You know, he's had some injuries. He's had some stuff going on. And for him to kind of battle through it, I thought he just, you know, lost himself in the game tonight, which was good. Made some huge plays that were very Caba-esque that we're used to, you know, and we need every bit of that. He's a big-time competitor, beautiful young man, and I was happy that he was able to have some success tonight. And I really hope, to your question, that it is a springboard for him for the rest of the season.
All right, there's Kevin Young and AJ Dybantsa after BYU falls at Arizona. A reminder, we're brought to you in part by Kenny J's Barbecue, and you can join Scotty G and friends Friday at Kenny J's Barbecue from noon to 3 for the 60 and 60 ranking show. Kenny J's Barbecue located at 11610 District Drive in South Jordan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Tim LaComb talking hoops with us. Stay with us right here on The Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Tim LaComb joined us during the show yesterday to talk Jazz, to talk rebuild, to talk tanking, and a little college basketball as well. Here, of course, that was before all the games last night. But nonetheless, here is Tim LaComb talking hoops with PK and I. Tim, good morning.
Good morning. Good dreary morning.
Tim, I have been trying to figure out why the Jazz got fined $500,000 when Indiana only got fined $100,000, and why Washington and Sacramento didn't get fined at all. And I'm pretty sure Oklahoma City's been complaining because they want that draft pick.
So that would make you feel better if those other teams got fined?
But it would make more sense to me. I don't know if I'd feel better, but yes, it seems illogical to me that some teams are being singled out and other teams that are obviously tanking or skating. So yes. But
a lot to unpack.
Well, what about what about the gambling sites? In-game gambling is a big deal, and coaches just suddenly benching guys can throw all of that out of kilter, and that could be a lot of bets and a lot of money. Hey, corporate partners have shared opinions about leagues forever, and these are two corporate partners. Why wouldn't they share their opinions too? I bet they hate it.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of so much of all that. First of all, I've been sitting watching the NBA nightly for 6 years and watching teams roll through that. You obviously know what's going on. There's teams now that are championship level that have built their team, on this very thing. So, first, have the Jazz probably had some issues where they're playing, yes, but it's like being 16. I remember this vividly. Got my license. I went to Sears driving school. It was a thing. And you got to drive these new Camaros.
Well, sweet.
And, everybody else had to go schlep it at school, but I figured out a way because my stepdad had some trade, some barter stuff. I figured out a deal. So at 16, I took a 3-week course, and I remember one of the first tickets I ever got about maybe a week later. I was sitting on the side of the road watching cars just fly past me while I'm getting my ticket.
Oh, that always works, and then you point that out?
Yeah, and I was like, hey, that guy's going fast, right? And so,
you're the first teenager to get that.
And that's kind of the situation in the NBA. But then you throw in there, like you said, the accusations from OKC, who's got, a pick writing on it, and you've got, all of the gambling piece, which I actually think is the biggest thing that's causing heat for Adam Silver. I think he's absolutely 100% done a horrible thing bringing it in as prevalent. And, I happen to know some of those companies have, they have corporate roots, but there's some bad people in that whole world. And so for the NBA to get tied up in that has really limited, even his ability, because I think you brought bad actors into the deal. And then, again, I kind of concur with Mark Cuban. I think you're either tanking or winning a championship. I mean, you're not tanking, but this idea that every year, every team's got a chance to win the thing. Everybody's on a different level of building, and it to me is, it is rich right now to come out at this point after so many years and decades have transpired using this. I mean, Tim Duncan was a product of the tank, let's be honest. So this has been going on for a long, long time, and now all of a sudden we're going to show indignation, and that's where I have my issue. That's where I have my issue with the league, with Adam Silver, with the way the Jazz are, being basically at this point singled out over and over again. It's just it's rich.
And with that in mind, whoop-de-freaking-do. I mean, they have to do it because the league isn't going to do you any favors. It isn't going to help you get where you want to go. So you got to do what you got to do. And they're on the precipice of doing something really good here and adding a potential, I'm not going to go game changer, but definitely a rotation player who could develop into something. You never know how that works. They have to do it, and they've got to lose as many games as possible in the final just under 7 weeks of the season. And if they get fined, fine me. I can remember Derek Coleman, when he was with New Jersey, they had a dress code. When they traveled, you had to wear a suit or a tie or something, and here's the fine. And he totaled up the fine on 41 games, wrote him a check and said, here you go. I ain't doing it. I'm going to dress casual on these flights. And so that's what he did. And that's the same thing with the Jazz. Because they're not going to do anything beyond the fines. So I don't care. Fine them. Fine away.
Yeah, that's just fine with us.
Oh, good.
I've lost a lot of trust in Silver. I think. How
about gold?
I think Silver is not gold. In fact, Silver is actually starting to rust.
And then rust never sleeps.
It's just these weird comments like he makes about. It's like he's trying to gamify the game. And look, man, the game's been on its own. There's a multitude of people that love the game. And, again, this bringing betting into the deal, saying, well, I don't know if we should have jump balls. And, I mean, all these things that they're not improving the game. You're just changing it for change's sake. I concur. I heard Jake Scott yesterday, my illustrious co-host, say, what good has he done in his time in the league that's been really, really like, wow, that was great. The in-season tournament is a gimmick, but I do think that it's gotten guys to play harder earlier in the year, and that's a plus. So, I mean, I'll give him part of that, but beyond it, I can't think of really one good thing the guy's done other than, put the league in some weird spots.
Signed really lucrative TV deals that have made all the owners rich and taken the pressure off for selling tickets. Yeah, richer.
But that's what a commissioner's supposed to do. I mean, that. Like my job, we had a clinic last night, so the clinic went on. Good job, Tim. I mean, there's more to it than that. And again, it's how you go about doing it. I'm finding it so comical to watch college basketball right now and know who the powers were, particularly in the non-NIL world, but in the under the table, we're going to make things right world. And if you look around at the teams that are really struggling, that weren't struggling before, it's pretty obvious. I took great pleasure in watching Dana Altman at Oregon just absolutely get rifled last night at Minnesota because the money that was funneling through that place. And so really just start looking at the standings and say, oh, this team what happened? Oh, Mick Cronin's always angry, too. That might be part of his issue.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
Yeah, you wouldn't like him in person.
You were in the coaching world for a long time, and I wanted to ask you a general coaching question. We've seen what happened with the Kansas State coach. He goes out and says, hey, half these guys are going to be here next year. And so he goes public, and he's really, really harsh. And you brought up Cronin, who's been harsh for a good while. And there's been a couple other coaches, Tad Boyle, after they got worked, a Colorado coach, by Texas Tech, he just said we're embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. What level of coaching can you do, like whether it's in person to the team, to their face, or through the media? Because it seems like Tang is, I mean, he was 1-11 at the time when they fired him in the conference. I'm sure if he was 11-1 and they had lost the game and he blasted him, it probably would have been okay, but it wasn't, and he lost his job. So I'm just wondering, where's the line there, and are these guys crossing it?
I think the lines, and you got this from local experience, if you're winning, that line's out there a ways. You can do a lot, say a lot. If you win, it's when those wins stop accumulating and maybe your activity, your actions start to create a little bit of angst, because it's great when you got a crazy coach that's winning. There's nothing worse in the world to have. And really, in my mind, if you guys saw the clip with Mick Crone last night, like there's a student reporter asking him about the crowd, and the guy was so completely out of line. And it's so hard because what you got as administrators, you've got a room full of dudes that you're basically entrusting to this dude. And they start showing these signs of, like last night, that was absolutely insane behavior. There was a student reporter asked a question about the crowd, and Mick could have moved on. He answered the question, but then he had to make an aside. That's the dumbest question. So he instigates this dumbest question I've been ever asked. The student reporter says, well, I'll take that. Then he could end it again. And Mick says, well, you need to take it. And the guy's like, I was just, and then he said, are you raising your voice at me? And first of all, Mick's like 5'6". Like, I would walk up to Mick and just elbow him in the top of the head and he'd be done. But here he is, because he's got a whole scrum around him, he's going to take on the student reporter. So as an administrator, you're sitting there going, this doesn't play great. And then those things add up, But I think more importantly, it's for Jerome, it was the 1-11 that caused the issue. And then they look for reasons, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting away from – I think we're going to get away from – because what a coach has to do now, it's like what Kevin Young's got to deal with right now. In the NBA, you have a guy go down, you go sign a 10-day or whatever. He just had Richie go down, and now he's really got to figure out. He's got to dig in. So there's no time for any of that crap. You got to have a coach that's forward thinking, and so I would see some of those guys just naturally weed out, and some of that behavior again, it's not warranted. You don't when you guys go down to ask questions, and you ask a kind of a fun question about the opposing crowd. Obviously, the coach is not going to love it, but at the same time, you don't expect Lord Farquaad to get off his horse and want to fight.
Wow. I mean, Penny Hardaway handled a very similar topic very differently after seeing the crowd in Logan. I mean, just for comparison, look how Mick handled it, right, and then look how Penny Hardaway handled it. Night
exactly.
and day. And Penny's not exactly Penny's not exactly stacking up the wins right now.
And he's not short.
Yeah. But, he handled that completely differently.
No, he did. He was not, he wasn't thrilled with the dunk, but that happens all the time. But when given, talking about it, he's like, the loudest place I've ever been. Yeah. If you have an opportunity to go. And we all know that living out here.
So we've had a lot of games now that we're just seeing 80 and 90 points in a 40-minute college game. Used to be you had to hold people under 70 if you wanted to win regularly. Now it seems that number's moved to 75, maybe even 80. And a faster-paced game and more threes. So I get some of that. But I had a former coach say it's because of the transfer rule. Coaches can't coach as hard. You've really got to push guys, to get them play defense. And he's like, you think Stu Morrill was up there hugging kids and loving them up at practice? He was screaming about defense. Rick Majerus, Dick Hunsaker at UVU, Roger Reed at BYU. He says, I can go to every school, and every school, and it's different now. Is that why we're seeing 99-92 and 99-94 in your mind?
I think partially transfers because, you have to be on your best behavior while still getting something out of those guys, and that's hard. And then compound that by giving them a lot of money. In some instances, guys making more than the assistant coaches are trying to tell them how to get in a stance and do things. So I do believe there has been some of that slippage. But at the same time, we've got, as you said, faster paces, more threes. So that's going to definitely push it in that direction. But having to coach, or I guess getting to coach guys that, are new to the system and making a lot of money, I think that's got to be a little bit of a learning curve on how to manage all that for guys that hadn't really coached professionally.
Yeah, and you wonder that Kevin Young was asked about all the transfers and Richie Saunders being a 4-year player and how unusual that is. But in Kevin Young's world, it's not unusual. The transfer portal is what he knows. And so it's like Whittingham talked about, the adapt or die type thing. And that's if you want to be in coaching, if you want to stay in coaching, you simply have to accept it because it's simply not going away and deal with it as the present conditions exist. There's no other way.
Exactly. And, Kevin's probably going to lean on some of his G League experience right now. You can never really count on much of a lineup in that instance. And I tell you what, he does a great job being at the game the other day. It was a minute in, when Richie's situation goes down and they really had to scramble, and Colorado had just gotten embarrassed in Texas Tech, so Tad had them ready to go. I stopped by the hotel to say hello to the Buffalo staff the morning of the game, and I've never seen Tad so amped up because I think he'd put a lot into getting these guys ready to go after not playing well in Lubbock. So BYU faced the team was really motivated. They pushed them all night, but big plays. Kevin just stayed with it, and it was a neat thing with Jimmer this weekend being back and being around kind of what's going on there. So a tough weekend, but I believe Kevin can. He'll do a really good job of putting their best foot forward. But the schedule is damning right now.
How much can be made up with energy and emotion? Guys who haven't been getting an opportunity suddenly have it, and they can cut loose, and they're not scouted, at least in the short run. So there's got to be a little bit of a surprise factor. How much of that figures in as you look at BYU and Arizona, and then also BYU down the line against Iowa State, Texas Tech, UCF, everybody else on the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you've got to hope for, and I think good thing I watch in BYU is they really have recruited good players. They've had a ton of injury, but that's the only thing you can do. That's your only option. So, you throw yourself into it. We had that experience, Jimmer's senior year with Brandon, and we only had, I think, 2 games left in the season, and we were fighting our tail off for a championship. We went out, played New Mexico after losing Brandon, got beat at the Marriott Center. It was a tough one. And then we were able to come back and beat Wyoming. But in that interim, we were able to get a couple rotations with different guys who haven't played a lot. James Anderson, who we got to see this weekend. Big game James was huge for us in that Wofford game. Logan Magnuson was another guy who didn't play a lot all year long. And he actually, in my mind, was the reason we beat Wofford. He made a couple threes when we were stuck. So, yeah, you go to your bench and you get those guys in a spot where they can, really have confidence in the things they're going to do. But it's not easy at all, and you'd certainly rather have a guy like Richie out there. And my prayers to him and his family. Honestly, one of the best kids and one of the best families that I had the opportunity to interact with in 20-plus years of coaching, recruiting, just phenomenal people. So prayers up for all of them. And he'll get through this because that's who he is.
All right, there is Tim LaComb. Now, we knew BYU was going to have a tough time on the road. They have a couple more ranked teams at home, and they did show some good things. They just need some people to go with Dybantsa. We will get to that coming up next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, what is trending? The headlines are on the way.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. #NBA.
I know you got to ask these questions, but I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense. I'm just here to focus on the season, keep it pushing. But I know I get you got to answer those questions. My teammates know what it is. We've been locked in the whole season. We've enjoyed our break, had a great practice today. Looking forward to this road trip.
NBA teams getting back to it. There's KD. How good is Houston? How well are he and Sengun playing together? Pretty much standard answer. Didn't you think, PK?
I think Kevin Durant has a little bit of drama around him, and he relishes that. Not a lot, not significant, but around the edges, there always seems to be something with him.
Little chip on his shoulder and willing to engage on it.
I couldn't care less if he and Sengun are playing well together because they're not going to win the title, so what difference does it make?
Over here, the Spurs or the Thunder? Tell me how that series goes. Maybe Denver if they're healthy.
And then the winner plays Denver.
Status updates. Regular season resuming tonight or tomorrow, depending on the club. The Kings forward, Dybantsa Sabonis, and guard Zach LaVine shut down for the season, having some surgery. Steph Curry remains out for the Warriors. Kristaps Porzingis will make his debut. Ja Morant's out for 2 more weeks for reevaluation in Memphis. Kyrie Irving will not return to Dallas this season. He'll continue his rehab after the ACL he suffered at the end of last year. So they're the teams who aren't going to get in the playoffs, or maybe in one case get in but not win. Shutting guys down or holding them out.
What are we going to do? That's what I care about.
Yeah, right. What's going to happen with Markkanen and Nurkic?
No, I was talking about the Suns.
Aha! 7th in the West?
Just kidding.
You feeling 6th?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. No, I was kidding. It's all about the Jazz.
DJ and PK.
#college basketball.
Jaden Bradley inbound baseline right. Gets it Delly. Right corner. Jumps the 3. Got it! Oh, my! Anthony Del Orso at the horn. And the Cats go to the locker room up by 7. Previous double team squeezes through the defense. 4 to shoot. Out top. Del Orso open. Drains it. Delly with another Lexus of Tucson Journey 3. Right goes baseline lane. Knocked away by Previous. Picked up by Bradley. Arizona ball. Bradley. Head Del Orso to the bucket. Slid it home.
It's not over yet.
Turnover. 75-68 Arizona.
Anthony Del Orso comes off the bench with 22 points. That's the most points he's scored in his 2 years at Arizona. And the senior helps Arizona beat BYU 75-68. Nobody really going with Dybantsa, PK. He had 35 points. He had more than half their points.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's great for me. I like how he rose to the occasion. I mean, his shooting percentage wasn't all that good, but you got to do something. And he's a fine player. He's an awesome player. But Tony D scoring 22, then come on. Can't happen, man. Not Tony D. They basically played 7 guys, and one barely only played 10 minutes. And they got Tony D puts in 22, and again, you got nothing from your bench.
6 points from 5 different guys. Not nearly enough. 6 points, 6 boards, no assists from those guys.
Yeah, and Wright doesn't play like he's capable of. Hard to criticize. You know, he's out there balling, and there's so much pressure on those 2 guys. And Dybantsa's really, really good. We understand that. And Wright's a smaller dude.
And the other 3 starters were a combined 4 of 10.
Yeah. I can't really criticize Kennard Davis. I mean, he's doing a lot of different things for them. And, you know, he's only taken 4 shots.
Yep.
So, and he made all 5 free throws. So, you'll take what Kennard Davis gave you, but Boscovich, nothing.
Literally scoreless with 1 board in 11 minutes. They need more from those guys. We'll see if they can get it as they return home. Role players play better at home. Any coach ever tell you that?
Well, we'll see if they do. I don't know if they will.
Well, BYU falls. Utah and Utah State both win. The Utes get their first road win since January 15th. A year ago, they hold off West Virginia 61-56, a 9-0 lead, an 18-3 lead, and it got down to 2, but they made enough free throws to hold on and were gifted a horrible turnover by West Virginia in the final seconds, but throwing the ball out of bounds unpressured, unforced error, gave it right back to the Utes for more free throws.
Good for them, man. They needed it. Get a little positive momentum and on the road, no less, against a halfway decent team.
Yeah, West Virginia on the outside of the bubble looking in. That obviously didn't help, but they were being mentioned as last 4 out or next 4 out, kind of in that range.
Tied with BYU, weren't they?
In the standings.
That's where you're going to be tied. Either you're going to be tied in the game or the standings, and they didn't play in the game. So it has to be in the standings.
Some rankings or something? I don't know what you're referring to. I mean, I'm a standings guy, but I hadn't looked at the standings.
Right.
Now I'm going to.
Well, I already knew them.
Very satisfied.
I haven't looked at them either, but I already knew them.
You're psychic.
No, I follow it.
Utah State blew out Boise State 75-56. They took control of that game with a 9-0 run to end the half, going up 30-23 at the break, dominate the second half. That was another convincing and comfortable home win. They've been stacking those up one after another, but that's the end of that 3-game homestand. Now they got to go on the road, but they handled it all well at the Spectrum.
It's grueling on the road.
Nevada this weekend. Scotty G will be here to talk about that coming up at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
Kansas City Chiefs restructuring quarterback Patrick Mahomes' deal, freeing up $43.65 million in salary cap space. He'll now be paid $54.45 million in a signing bonus with a cap hit lowered. So they create a little bit of space for him, right, for him to get players around him. Super Bowl champion Seahawks officially for sale. The Paul G. Allen estate, which has owned the team since his death in 2018, announced yesterday it has commenced a formal sale process. Sale price could be $7 billion or maybe a little more than that. An ex-girlfriend of Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has filed a lawsuit in Texas alleging he repeatedly assaulted her during an 18-month span from 2023 to 2025. Dakota Jones has said she was pregnant during many of the alleged assaults, is seeking more than $1 million. Rashee Rice, who was suspended at the start of last season for 6 games, has controversy follow him. He is back in the news again. DJ PK.
#Major League Baseball.
Bruce Myers will lead the Baseball Players Association as their new executive director, replacing Tony Clark. He's got 1 year, PK. 1 year to find some kind of way to save the 2027 season. You have very low hopes and expectations for that to happen.
I was driving in listening to the Baseball Channel, and that one guy with the white hair who used to be the Mets GM, what's his name? Phillips, I think. He was saying
Steve Phillips. Yeah.
Will be a season. And under Manfred Mann, or whatever the commissioner's name is, that
Rob Manfred,
that they have never missed one game, and he thinks, they'll have some spring training shortened, but that no games will be shortened because both sides understand whatever leverage you gain if you miss seasons, portions thereof, depending on how long it goes, you'll just lose whatever you gained in the loss of the season because the fans will be turned off again as they were 30 years ago. So there's no point in doing that, and both sides will understand that. So I was driving in this morning with a smile on my face.
He thinks cooler heads will prevail.
I believe that was literally the cliche that he used.
Nice. Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz entered not guilty pleas in federal court, and their trial for colluding with sports bettors to rig bets will likely be postponed until October. Originally thought it might start in May, but going to push it back. DJ and PK.
#Golf.
The end of the West Coast swing, the PGA Tour at Riviera Country Club for the Genesis Invitational. Tony Finau in the field. PK, this is a favorite stop. The course is popular. The players probably like playing in L.A. with all their sponsors and all that and the big crowds. And you've got stories from the massive crowds and all the celebrities at Riviera.
Well, I've been there, yeah. There's a lot of celebrities, yeah. Apparently I was in Sylvester Stallone's way one time. So he looked at me and said, "Excuse me." I said, "You back up, buddy." And he said, "Are you going to hit me?" And I said, "Absolutely."
You want to go 10 rounds right now?
A lot of my friends have played it, but I think it's had media stuff there. For whatever reason, I've never played it, but I've been there obviously and walked it many times, but I've never had the opportunity to tee it up there.
Tiger Woods said he does not rule out playing in the Masters. He was asked about it this week. Maybe back there. Feels more ceremonial at this point, doesn't it?
Well, it depends on what he's looking for. You know, does he want to go in and I'm the greatest of my generation, inarguably, unarguably, whatever it might be. And does he want to represent golf? Because he's still a big-time name. You know, I think he's largely driving the indoor thing that they do in, December and January? I don't know. I don't even know if they're still doing it. So he's still the biggest name out there. And does he want to do that, which would be great, or does he think he has a legitimate chance to compete? Where's his mindset when it comes to that type of question? It would be awesome if he could compete and is on the leaderboard on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I mean, that would just be incredible. It doesn't appear that would be the case. He's old now. He's 50. He just turned 50 here in December, right?
Correct.
And so that normally doesn't happen. I get what he's trying to do, maybe. Him being there is a story. If he's on the grounds and he makes his way to the TV broadcast,
people will follow him.
That's good for golf.
Yeah. DJ and PK. Deep into the Olympics, it's time for hockey medals to be handed out. Gold medal game today. USA and Canada, longtime rivals. They play for the gold medal. Switzerland and Sweden just started in the first period scoreless in the bronze medal game. The women wrapping up their tournament today. The men advanced in the quarterfinals yesterday in overtime, 2-1. 3 of the 4 quarterfinals went to overtime. So the men knocked Sweden out, 2-1. Quinn Hughes with the game-winning goal. They got a semifinal tomorrow.
Yeah, I watched the whole game, man. It was exciting.
It was pretty tense, huh?
Yeah.
What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. We'll talk Olympic hockey with Cole Bagley, Utah Mammoth Insider for KSL Sports. He's going to be here at 9:30. Scotty G at 9 o'clock. The question of the day is next.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
There's the know it when you see it aspect of it. Fine. If you want to say, I can tell the Jazz are tanking because they're not playing their guys in the fourth quarters, regardless of the outcome, they're trying to do something differently. Fine. But are you saying you didn't watch the Sacramento Kings in their final game before the All-Star break and that wasn't a team trying to lose?
They don't care about policy. They don't care about even application of that. It would be impossible. By the way, the Jazz / many other teams compromised their integrity years ago, decades ago for some teams. Did you not see what the Spurs did in the 90s to get Tim Duncan? I remember when they were tanking to get John Morant. Marc Gasol actually talked about it after the game. He was upset. He didn't play the entire second half.
Of a game against the Jazz.
A game against the
Where
Jazz.
He had like 20
here
in the first half.
Salt Lake. Sat the entire second half. So did you not see it then?
Exactly right.
So are you an idiot or are you corrupt?
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We're brought to you by University of Utah Health. At University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. Question of the morning. Sacramento's Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis are both having season-ending surgery. What will the Jazz do? Matt, $500K fine incoming for your Utah Jazz. Matt thinks they're going to tank and they're going to get fined for it again.
Good. If that's what it costs, so be it.
$500,000 to hold on to your draft pick. Totally worth the money.
Well, it'd be $1 million now.
Yeah.
To me, it is. Yeah.
Joshua thinks the Jazz will get fined because the Kings are tanking. They shut down 2 guys for the season. And they're sitting on the worst record.
Yeah, the Kings are in. It doesn't seem to really matter at this point. You know, that's more of a symbolic thing of what people are doing to tank, but it doesn't seem like the Kings have to worry about not being in the tankathon, and the reward that's going to come from it remains to be seen. But with only 12 wins, I don't see them getting to 20.
I'd agree with that. I figured they're going to end up drafting somewhere between 1 and 5. They should end up with the worst record in the league. They're 2 games clear of everybody already, and doesn't look like there's much reason for them to win from here on out. So
they're safe.
They are. Who are the Fab Four with the best lottery odds? The Kings have to be in the group.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I would go
Wizards, Pelicans, Pacers, Nets. What about that group? They're all on 14 or 15 wins.
I look at Washington for sure.
They're the one at 14. The other 3 are sitting on 15.
And the Pacers, I mean, they've lost 2 guys off last year's team, so they've got a good excuse. Halliburton's hurt, and the other guy, Miles Turner went to the Bucks. And then they're probably their 2 best players. So they've got a nice excuse there to have a crappy season. And I would expect them, they're okay. Even though I don't understand why they got fined. But who do they have that's going to make Siakam, that's going to make them be significantly better? Doesn't really make sense to me. So I think they're okay. The Nets, they've been sitting guys, and they dumped Cam Thomas there a couple weeks back. So yeah, I think they're okay. Pelicans, what's Zion going to do? Pelicans, it seems like the Zion situation has just hovered over that team from the second he got drafted. And if he played however many games they have left, they probably could be halfway decent. But it doesn't seem like he has any intent or ability or desire or health to do that. So I'm not sure about them. But the Jazz have some work to do to make sure they stay in. It won't be easy.
There's a team that they can, quote-unquote, catch. I think it's the Pelicans. 5-5 in the last 10, including a win at San Antonio, a win at Minnesota. You're playing half-decent basketball.
Just sit Zion and away you go. Mm-hmm. And losing Jackson for the rest of the season really does nothing to the team because they didn't even really give up that much in players. None of the...
They're still dangerous. I get your point. Jazz are still dangerous, and they can still win games.
Right. Kyle Anderson was... No. Clayton, maybe a little. Taylor Hendricks been buried on the bench most of the time. And then the 3 picks obviously don't translate to this season. We'll see what happens down the road and what Memphis does with those picks. But that's on them now. That's
their deal.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with the Jazz. So they didn't really give up any significant pieces off of this year's team, which is why the trade looks so promising for next season. With that in mind, the guys that are helping them win now are still here. And
so there must be a way to shut them down.
They're in the way of winning. I'm winning what they need to win. And that's by winning is actually losing. It's a reverse, obviously. And those guys are getting in the way. I guess maybe better to say instead of in the way of winning, I was talking about winning the lottery, but getting in the way of losing games in the current situation, in the present tense. Yeah, I can't have Keontae George do what he's been doing. I just can't.
He goes out there and puts up 30 points. He might win a game.
Right.
Outscore somebody 120 to 118 and put a W in the old win column that you don't want any part of.
No, really. And I think that the management would have had to dope this out to know, okay, what is the final win total that will keep us in, that will get us out.
I find it unthinkable that they didn't do that weeks ago.
Right. And so they have to know, to me, it would be very difficult not to win the game tomorrow.
What a great discussion we're having.
No, but I accept the discussion.
I get it. I'm not complaining. I just
I'm fine with it. It's
had an
not
out-of-body weird experience.
To me, it's no longer an out-of-body weird experience. No, it's the facts. It's the reality.
The game at Memphis is potentially winnable for sure. The game at Houston, you think that'll lose that.
Well, I think the Memphis game's like 80% winnable.
What do you think the 2 New Orleans home games after that? I mean, this is like the
well,
first.
Tell me who plays for New Orleans.
The first week back.
No,
3 winnable games out of 4.
They need to play chess and see what are the other guys doing. And if Big Z is gone, then who am I sitting? The tatted up Texan who's been playing well. You're out. And let all these guys on TV, sure, it's easy to pile on the Jazz. We're way out here. They're all back in New York. Have at it. And we're a bunch of bumpkins with 10 wives out here, so make fun of us some more. Whoop-de-doo. It's easy to do. You look like a tough guy when you do that, but there's no blowback for most of them. A couple of them, maybe the Jazz love to leak stuff to national people. That's been a fact. They don't really care so much about the locals. And so maybe if you keep bagging on us, we're going to clam up on you. And, your job, most of their jobs are to come on and sort of beat around the bush as like, oh, well, I'm hearing, and then it's nebulous, because, I still heard it, but it didn't happen. And then you got one guy where the agents and the NBA people tell him, and he puts it out 5 minutes before it happens. Like when the Jazz were sold to Smith.
1 minute in advance of the email.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Right.
Woj bomb followed by an email.
And you get all that, and great. Way to go. And those guys they're all driven by money. I mean, they want to protect their people because they want to protect their money. And it goes right back to money.
Get their next contract.
Everything in the business world goes back to money.
Avoid the next round of ESPN layoffs.
And so with that in mind, let them do what they do. And Adam Silver, I would say let him lose hair over it, but didn't have any anyway. So with that in mind, just keep doing it. And if they want to sit these guys tomorrow, so what? Because you'll be out of the tanking, and you won't be part of the discussion in the 26-27 season, and then the league can figure out what to do and change all these odds. And
all the rules can be changed by the next time the Jazz need to tear it down.
And they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it now. You can't. It's too late. So continue to do it and thumb your nose at anybody who criticizes.
Our listeners are ready for that, willing and able to help. Jeremy says put out that Markkanen has plantar fasciitis. Jason, send all your guys to get operations. Weston, schedule colonoscopies for our starters. They've all got ideas.
Well, colorectal cancer is an extremely serious thing. Normally it's not for the guys of that age. But I guess you never know. I don't know that I would do that because that's only one game. Unless you're back-to-back because you got it all out the night before.
Hey, now.
And then you go the next morning. So that would only be like the night before and then the day of. By the day, 24 hours after, you should be good to go. And the burrito will taste even sweeter at that point. But it's important, man. If they got Dybantsa, I think right now, today, Dybantsa's as good as Markkanen.
Think he'll come in and average 25 right out of the gate?
I don't know what kind of FGAs he'll get. I mean, you have to have the opportunity. So I don't know. I have no idea what team he's going to go to and how many shots. But I would, if I was choosing today, if I'm choosing between the two, I would choose Dybantsa.
Well, then you get the upside down the line, sure.
No, I'm talking, but I'm not talking down the line.
Talking about the impact
I just
he'd have on
said
that
today.
season.
I didn't say anything. He's younger. Duh. I'm not talking about that. I said today. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose Dybantsa. I've seen enough of him.
He scores really easy in the college game. Very easy. Unstoppable.
Yeah.
As we just saw. Arizona was locking everybody else up, but not him. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go that far, but
I would.
Going younger guy and all that. I
No,
get
it has
that.
nothing to do with age. They can be the same age.
His ceiling out there.
I'm not, man, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about right now. I think his game is better. And if they had an opportunity to get him, and that means you go 0-26, whatever they have left, do it.
Yeah, as we know, the number of wins they get between now and then, I mean, they got to hold on to the pick and then just see if the ping pong balls break their way.
Well,
it seems like he should be the number one pick, but man, a lot of people are in love with Peterson, think he should go number one.
Not
people
anymore.
love Boozer. I know.
Not anymore. Peterson, he keeps asking out of games.
Yep.
He asked out of games last night, and Bill Self was the most critical he's been. He's had enough. It's not worth it. It's not, Dybantsa shows up, plays the whole game,
competes.
Balls out.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's only if you get the number one pick. I'm not worried about getting the number one pick. I'm worried about staying in the opportunity to get. You can't control that.
You can't control
this
the
is what
the
you
odds.
can do now.
Yep.
So you have to do it, and it must be done at all costs.
Well, they got to figure out a way then for some of these guys, Markkanen and Keontae George.
Well, no, they don't.
And
the
how to
way's
shut
there.
them
Just
down.
don't play. You don't have to figure it out. This is not this is not a complex problem. You're not playing tonight. Ready, break.
Just give them a DN coach's decision.
Well, what's there to figure out?
DNP. An injury, so they don't get fined.
Keontae, you have a hangman.
Fine me away. You're missing the point. Fine away. Whatever the fines are, it's worth doing, and they must take a stand. It's now or never.
That part's true.
This year.
Yep. This is it.
So there's nothing to figure out. What mystery is involved? You will not play. What they have done is they'll dope out the schedules and figure the games. And the whole thing is, it's the integrity of the league. So what do you want them to do? Because the people who scream that Bobby Marks dude is ruining the integrity of the league. Well, if they miss out, Bobby Marks and the like are not going to help them get to where they want to go. The only way that they're going to get to where they want to go is by them helping themselves. Because nobody else, my mother, my whole life, charity starts at home, big guy. You walk out that door, there ain't nobody who's going to care about your problems. And you got to worry about them yourself. And you got to scratch, claw, and fight for everything you want because nobody's giving you anything. Now, a bunch of people here born on third base, and they think they hit a bleeping triple. Good for them. And then they try to justify, no, I worked for this my whole life. B friggin' S. The door was flung wide open, and you walked through it. Okay? That's not going to be bestowed upon this team. So they have to do it, and they have to do it right now. They have to do it tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. That's the reality. And hunker down. Get off social media. Don't pay attention to what anybody is saying because you must do this. The success of your franchise has a possibility of hanging in the balance or the level of success of your franchise, minimum. So they have to do it.
And I think they're going to. I thought they're going to for a while.
But you said they have to figure it out. There's nothing to figure out.
I don't think they're just going to sit Markkanen with DNP coach's decision.
Why not?
I think they're going to sit him because I think they're going to come up with some kind of injury.
They don't need to.
I think they will.
Fine, but the bottom line is the same. Couch it any way you want. I don't care.
The bottom line is hold on to that draft pick. You're going to get a good player to add to the group, and there's no other path to get a player like that for nothing. It's always
and
trade.
Send Sam Presti, wrap up a dead fish and send it to him.
I like that. Straight out of The Godfather.
Yeah. Here's what I think of you, Sammy.
You tank for years, and now you're popping off.
Yeah. So what? And the betting sites and Adam Silver, so what? Find a way. You're gonna create something now. If they sit these guys right now, and they just did what the Kings did, where
announced 2 surgeries.
Yeah, and 2 of their better players, if not their 2 best players. So do that to these dudes. And what are they going to do? They're going to take away a pick? Take away next year's pick. Who cares? But what can they do in the short term between now and the draft in June? Take my money? I got plenty of money. Nobody's hurting for money. You know, a hatback needs money. He can take a home equity loan out of his place out in Provo. My guess is he doesn't need to do that.
The pure shock of him walking into some bank or something and asking for a home equity loan.
Reverse mortgage? I mean, they're talking about the Pebble Beach, how that the guys stayed at his home at Pebble Beach, which we understand he bought, tore down, and built a new one, is what we're told, right? And Jim Nantz knows the guy. Jim Nantz has a connection here, and there he is talking about it. So they're going to fine him?
You don't have to convince me.
Fine the freak away. Have at it. Create as many fines as you want. The stakes are high enough that this is the case. And then see where you're at when the lottery balls come out. And what are you going to do? You're going to ruin the integrity of the league by screwing the Jazz in the lottery? There's already out there. We already saw something yesterday that somebody put out there that two owners said, "Oh, there's no surprise that Pablo Cruz put it out there."
Not Pablo Cruz.
Pablo Mastroianni put it out there.
Pablo
and they
Mastroianni.
said that you're going to get I don't know who Pablo Joe Torre is, that you're going to get Cooper Flagg. So the integrity of the league has already been in question only forever. And so play marketing. You're worried about the integrity of the league? So you're going to play them when the Jazz want to lose? Hey, Lowry, missed shots on purpose? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to do that? We'll make a joke of the joke.
Move it into point-shaving territory.
Is that what you're going to do? Would you rather do that? Would you rather us do that? They need to meet. The only way for me it works, you got somebody mad at you?
Make it matter.
You meet their anger with your own. Oh, yeah? What are you going to do about it?
You don't really want to create the headlines on more tanking and more tanking. I mean, there's an argument that the whole thing was timing and PR, that the commissioner was going to have to go talk about it at the All-Star game, so he issued the fines. But they've looked the other way on tanking for decades. So are they just going to look the other way? I mean, the Jazz probably need to lose at least 20 of the last 26. So if they sit guys, does he really want the headline to be the Jazz were fined 4 times over the fine for tanking? I don't think the commissioner really wants that headline.
So dare them?
Meet their anger with your indifference.
Well, that would be, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And I'll double down. I'll sit the guys, but I'll tell Hardy to go away. We want to try out some new coaches.
See if an assistant can coach again. Pull some guy out for the second row. We're not going to our number 1 and number 2 assistants.
I mean, they could really make a joke of this.
Yeah, they could. There's a bunch of teams with the opportunity to do that. And the Jazz, because of the fine, would be at the forefront.
Would they? Why would they be at the forefront?
Because they've already been fined $500,000. They're already in the discussion. But to your point,
you're going to fine them again?
The Jazz don't even play until tomorrow. It could be tonight. I think Indiana plays Washington tonight or Brooklyn. Two of the bottom feeders are playing each other tonight. They could both just start sitting every starter and some of their best
Silver
subs.
needs to show he's a tough guy, which is sort of ironic. So then I'll fine you, I'll fine you, I'll fine you. I already fined them. Yeah. So I think they've already been fined.
Pacers are at the Wizards tonight. Pacers have been fined. Wizards haven't. But you could find the Wizards.
But the Jazz were fined once last year. So they've already had their fine.
Yep.
So what do they get? They're good to go now.
That is an argument that the commission doesn't want all these headlines about, hey, they had to find that team three times and that team 3 times. He got through that press conference. So now the Kings can shut guys down, the Jazz can shut guys down, the Wizards, whatever.
Everybody understands that it is a league-wide problem that rests on the leadership and the administration of the league to come up for ways to fix it. Nobody believes this is a unilaterally Jazz issue. Nobody believes that. So I think the Jazz are in the clear now.
The solution, they could be. There's an argument that it was a PR move and he did the $500,000, he slapped him on the hand, and now I don't really think any commissioner wants to find 7 owners at the same time because all the commissioners depend on the owner to get their next contract. So you'll discipline them to a point.
You
and they just go
Adam
easy on
Silver
that.
you're not going to fire a lefty Jewish person. It's not going to happen.
And the
Stop
NFL,
with that.
And the NFL hasn't fired and all that. But Goodell, every time he has to discipline somebody, whatever it is, like he takes his time, he has some commission do it, he puts some committee together to do it, and he's super slow to do it. He's not getting fired either, but he was super slow.
I don't want to talk about the NFL. I'm talking about the NBA.
This is how commissioners behave. It doesn't matter the league. We are talking about the NBA and the NFL at the same time. All the commissioners behave the same way. And it goes
Adam
back to your
Silver will
project
be in the commissioner's office
at the end of the decade
until he wants to leave. So his job is not in jeopardy. He doesn't have to worry about that.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This past summer, we introduced the first ever Top 60 and 60 watch list. And now that the season is over, it's time to rank the best players in the state of Utah. It's the Top 60 and 60 ranking show, presented by Kenny J's Barbecue. Coming up this Friday, the Zone will rank the players that made the biggest impact on the state from the 2025 season. Live from Kenny J's Barbecue at the District in South Jordan, it's the Top 60 and 60 ranking show, presented by Kenny J's Barbecue, where you can get 10% off your catering order at KennyJ'sBBQ.com. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We had a boss once who demanded more Olympic talk. Remember that?
Yes, Summer Olympics.
I will give you a bonus for every Olympic interview. And then it did too, and he didn't give us any bonuses. Great. Awesome.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. He still owes me.
I know.
But we got an Olympic topic. He'd be happy right now.
Yeah.
Because yesterday afternoon there was no sports on, and USA's played in Sweden in the semis. I turned it on. I was doing stuff, and it was tense. It's elimination. Like if you blow that game, you don't get a medal. You get nothing. You're going to finish between 5th and 8th. You're out. You had to win that game to get into the top 4 and give yourself a shot at a medal. Keep your, not just your gold, but your silver and bronze hopes alive. And U.S. finally scored, opened the scoring in the middle of the second period. And then Sweden gets a goal late in the third, and it goes to OT. And at that point, didn't it just feel like every possession, this could be it right here. It's just so wide open. There's so too fewer skaters on the ice for each team. So, as PK puts it, how sweet was that game when the U.S. finally won it in overtime?
Oh, yeah, man, it was awesome. I actually, when Mighty Quinn put that thing in, I stood up and went like that.
Did you really? Hands up, give it the Rocky pose?
And I surprised myself.
Jordan says, awesome game. Quinn Hughes is a great skater, and that goal, beating 2 guys and then the backhand around the third and over the goaltender's glove. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. It was a rocket missile.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I got that confused with the overtime goal for Canada. Sorry. I was in Nate's office for that. I knew the timing was wrong because Nate was the one breaking it down.
Mitch Marner?
No, yeah, that goal, that was a sweet goal, but I was in one of our boss's offices and he had it on, and he went nuts. I had my back to it. I didn't even know what happened. So that brings up, here's one for you. Elaine says, Elaine loves your wordplay. The sweetest. It was an awesome game. Eldon says, great game. It'll only get tougher in each round. Will it? Do we know that? Is Slovakia going to be tougher than Sweden?
Okay, but it's not like they won the gold by winning that game.
No, not at all. They get 2 more to go here.
So the finals of Crosby, they're saying he's by no means done. He had the injury for Canada, but that he should. They believe there's an opportunity for him to play, yada, yada. So you got all that kicking. So we'll have to see.
Ryan says today we learned that Canada is beatable. But later in the day, we learned that apparently so is the USA. Fun win, though.
Well, is there such a thing as unbeatable?
Canada had been dominating, goal differential and all that, but they were in overtime just like the U.S.
What was cool when Larkin scored the first goal is that he was mic'd up. And so then they played it. Mm-hmm. And you hear him scream out, yeah! So they mic'd up the right guy, obviously. And just you can judge how much people are into it by the actual participants' emotion level. And if they are exuding extreme emotion, that means they're really into it, which then, for me, means that's fun, and I'm into it. I want to see whatever sport, whatever man, woman, doesn't matter, to have them have it mean really a lot. Because if it means real, just put it in your own world. You wanted a job, man, and you went after it hard. And if you didn't get it, it hurt. I tell you of a job that I thought I was going to have in Los Angeles, and they went and had me do the medical thing. Mm-hmm. And the doctor says, when you start? And I said, well, they haven't offered me. Well, they don't send you here. Well, the short of it is they didn't offer me the job. And that was a crushing blow. I mean, really hurt bad. And if I would have got it, it would have been awesome. Although, in retrospect, it was better that I didn't get it, because then I got something where I didn't have to move, and it was way better, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know that at the time.
It all worked out down the road.
Yeah.
But you had zero view of down the road in that moment.
Right. And so it was a bitter defeat. And the jubilation, they immediately showed a picture, a shot of the Swedish bench. And you didn't see the guy's face because he's leaning over and he's got his gloves and you just saw the top of his helmet. Mm-hmm. That meant a whole freaking heck of a lot. I can remember with Joe Ingles that we had, and they were trying to medal, the Australian men's team, right? And they finally did. And it meant everything. I believe for them, it means more than winning the NBA title. Because that's their guys, that's their country, and that's what you're going to have to put up with.
For Joe, it was like I'd say it was at least a 20-year trip to get to that moment.
Right, dream come true.
Yeah.
And so that's what you had there. And it doesn't even matter if you like the sport. If you like sports, you like competition. And that's what we had yesterday afternoon. Yeah, and it's snowing out. I got nothing else to do. I'm wide open. I went to the gym right when I got home to make sure I got back in time. And I did. And I enjoyed it. And I want it to be hard. You know, the Dream Team thing was a novelty, but the competition sucked.
It was a cool novelty, but there was zero doubt what was going to happen. Whereas now there's still a ton of doubt. And they still haven't locked up a medal.
I know.
Yeah.
And then with the men's Olympic team over the summer, it was a couple summers ago, Steph Curry's doing his thing. That was gripping. I didn't know if they were going to win, but I wanted him to win. And he goes nuts. And I got my wife and daughter, and it was the same thing. The time difference. It was the exact same time, middle of the afternoon. Of course, that was in the summer. Here's in the winter. But we're all sitting inside watching that thing, just rooting our butts off. That's really fun. And to see these guys do it. And now I'm going to be in, man. I'll make sure I'm there tomorrow. And then if they win, when's the medal?
Sunday.
Yeah. It'll be something I'm going to watch. It's a great game. And then when they drop it down to 3, and you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the ultimate fast break. Am I going to get a slam dunk? Am I going to get an alley-oop dunk? Back in my day, guys didn't run to the corner to shoot, to brick another 3.
Go into the hoop to throw one down.
Right. And you got Magic coming down. Being in the form at those times.
For the Koopa Loop?
The adrenaline, whether it be Worthy, Scott, Michael Cooper.
The place would explode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what, you're getting that every time. Whoever has the puck. That was a lot of fun.
Well, women's gold medal game today, 11 a.m., U.S. and Canada, and then the men in the semifinal on Friday.
Oh, yeah, and they were talking about the women. These women hate each other. This is worse than RSL and KC in soccer.
These two always expected they'd be playing each other in the gold medal game.
They hate us. We hate them.
You people trying to drum up emotion.
1 o'clock tomorrow for Slovakia and the U.S., so plan your Gym Time Friday accordingly.
I will.
DJ and PK, when we come back, what are they going to do? BYU, beaten on the road. Lessons they can learn, lessons they can take away. How can they turn it around at home and get a W? We will get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, BYU loses at Arizona last night. Anthony Del Orso, who was averaging 8 points a game, scored a season-high 22 points. And Arizona beats BYU. Is that another blown opportunity for the Cougars? Or you can look at that game and think, they're figuring stuff out. This is going to work in these final 5 games.
I think the thing that they're figuring out is AJ will have to ice his right arm and elbow and wrists after every game because he needs to get as many FGAs as possible.
40 shots for AJ. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, him and Wright obviously have to carry it. I do think that if I'm looking for reasons of hope, I think Kennard Davis, we can see more of him, integrate him more into the offense, play him more. You're going with Dybantsa and Wright. They combine to sit 3 total minutes, 2 for Wright, 1 for AJ, and it's probably not even that because you look at the box score and everything's a round number. And I would play Kennard Davis till he can't go anymore either, and continue to push these other dudes to see if you can get something out of them. And Keita did what he can do. 9 boards, 4 blocks, half of 4 offensive rebounds. He only 4 points, but he only takes 3 shots. So I don't know that you can get more out of him. Right? Yeah, I think that type of defensive effort, he was a presence. You'll take that.
He was rewarded in playing time. That playing time between him and Ahmed has been split pretty much down the middle, but not in this game. He got 3 quarters of playing time, and Ahmed got 1 quarter instead of going half and half.
And I think the Cougars benefited a little bit from Pete being out because he's another big body, and of the big bodies that they have, he's the best. So I think that for Arizona's sake, the reason why I don't feel awful for BYU, it's not a doom and gloom. They're not going to get Del Orso to score 22 very many times going forward. That was, you talk about role players at home. He's at home.
Yep.
The crowd of old people were cheering him on, and he had the game of his life. If that's what it takes for you to win, you're going to be in trouble.
And Arizona will probably be in trouble at Houston on Saturday.
We'll see if Pete plays.
See if he's back.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what his status would be.
Vernon says the Cougars had many opportunities at the end to close the gap. They only have AJ, and they need more players to step up. I felt Robert Wright Jr. had a poor game as well.
Well, relative to what he's been doing, he certainly had an off game. There's no question about that. Yeah. And the thing that bugs me is that they let guys who have no business doing what they do go off and get all sorts of confidence, and the hoop looks twice the size. He comes down, and they've got a little bit of a fast break going, and the 2 BYU defenders part like the Red Sea, and he goes right for a dunk. Can you guys put some resistance out there? Do you always have to wait till the last 5 minutes?
You would like to know in that moment, how old were they the first time a coach told them, stop the ball?
Yeah.
Because my guess is they were in grade school.
And then right at 0.8 of a second at the end of the first half, he gets a freaking wide open 3. Wide open. He's hot. He's got more confidence in the college game than he's ever had in his life. And nobody marks him. Nobody guards him. And he gets a wide-open 3 right in front of your bench when you should have 50 guys screaming in all those gray pullovers. Guard the guy!
So all of the Cougar fans who are on social media who have coached youth basketball went crazy on that, and they made 2 excellent points, actually, for all the negativity out there on social media. One of them had the video of of a guy. I can't remember who the defender was.
It was
but
Diamande.
He got held.
He got held.
He got
It was
held.
a pin down screen. The guy grabbed his arm.
And the answer was a great follow-up from a Cougar fan. It was like, it shouldn't matter that he got held because they should be switching everything in that moment anyway because you got to anticipate they're going to get held. But he was trying to fight through screens. They weren't switching everything. So Cougar fans were having at it. During halftime, they were entertaining themselves. And
that
with
was
their angst.
so frustrating because it could have been 4.
Yes.
Instead, it's 7. They got all the mo.
The momentum, the mindset, the crowd erupted. Like, we're going to do this when that shot went in.
Right. And it
had been so close in the first half.
Back and forth. Go in with a 4-point deficit. You're
feeling
fine.
like it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
And at 7, it felt like, it is crazy as one shot, but it felt like there was a hill to climb.
And then the third play, an inbounds pass, they try to throw it out, and it's picked off for an easy layup. Can you come up with an inbounds play? I don't need you to score off an inbound play, but how about getting the ball inbounds? You got 14 guys in great pullovers. Can somebody draw up a play?
Okay. I'm with 80% of the way there, but no, run it for points. People run inbounds for points all the time. Well, one of the 14 must know how to do it. You
just
can
get
always
the
watch
ball
game
in
film
and give it to AJ and get the crap out of the way.
You can tell one of the 14
That's my
people
play.
to watch game. Well, that's not a bad play. There's, but also you can tell if you get 14 people, like one of them, all you do is watch it just like rip off 5 good inbounds plays that you watch other games and they work. Whatever your favorite.
I just want the ball in bounds. I want a low
That's
standard.
a low bar. It
That's
is a
what I
low
want.
bar, but it's better than what they're getting, which is turnovers off
And then
inbounds
you
passes.
set a screen and hold somebody then.
Just call Jeff Judkins. He's got like 20 plays lying around. He could just send them down.
I'm not going to call Jeff Judkins and ask him for an inbounds play. No.
Gonna watch the video and do it on your own?
No, they need to do it. I'm here to second guess.
Yeah.
My job is to second guess, not first guess.
Yeah.
I'm not getting $4.5 million.
Ken is all done. He is doom and gloom. This experiment has failed. Let's start over. Now, he doesn't explain that. I'm like, well, Ken, like with this group of players, or are you talking like the NIL experiment has failed?
Well, I think what Kevin Young has, and I've got zero problem with this, is that he has said he's going after the top players. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Do that. And AJ is a top player. No doubt about it. And Rob Wright's really good. Totally fine with that. But then don't go after all of them because you're not going to get them all. And you don't want to be left short and then fill your roster with a bunch of guys who aren't very good. And unfortunately, that's looking like what they've got. They got the top end, and even with Saunders, it was a problem. Obviously, without Richie, it's compounded. But get some of these LDS kids and convince them, you'll have a role here. Mm-hmm. You are important. You can go there and get more FGAs. You can go across the country, but come here and you'll have a role. And then have them talk to the guys that Dave Rose, the Noah Hartsocks of the world, who were never stars, but played a significant factor in the team winning. And then, especially if you're local, then all these business opportunities, you don't have to go live in South Carolina or Virginia. Nope. You could be here and help us.
And they got
don't
the perfect,
overlook these dudes.
They got the perfect guy in house for that. Travis Hansen went to Mountain View. Didn't he go to your school, Yak? He went to Mountain View. He went to UVU for a year. He played at BYU for 3. He's got a job in Utah County. He has companies in Utah County.
He was a star, though.
He was a star. He ended up being a star, but I don't know that people knew he was going to be a star.
I don't know.
And he made some money in the NBA, but he made a ton of money playing overseas.
And now he's like the team president, for lack of a better term, for BYU Athletics.
Yeah.
But to your point, like that's Travis's one story. You could get 10 different stories. They could have 10 different players of different levels of glory in their time at BYU.
So don't shoot for every top 50 guy.
But guys 5 through 8.
Yeah.
You're gonna
and that's where I think the LDS talent is available in those slots if you're augmented by the stars at the top.
And maybe some of them you bring in as freshmen, but some of them you keep tracking because they go somewhere else and maybe you bring them back after a year or 2 or 3. And you tell them that when you're recruiting them. Hey, it's not over. This is college basketball. It's never over. We will watch you at fill-in-the-blank school. And in a year or 2, you could be coming back.
You got the perfect farm system right down the street in UVU.
UVU is an excellent example.
Yeah. So there's 3 or 4 guys out there that could really have helped this team. And I'm not putting it all on BYU for not getting him because I don't know all the particulars. There's a couple of guys I've investigated, and I was told that BYU didn't show them enough love, so they went elsewhere. And I believe those guys could help.
There's a chance that some of those players would not be enthralled with being the first or second or third guy off the bench. They'll probably, going forward, there'll always be people who, even if they make the appeal and show them the love, it's like, yeah, I don't think my role there is going to be big enough. I don't think my NIL money there is going to be big enough. But if off the top of our heads, you and I can identify 3 or 4 guys, I'll bet people who are diving deeper into it can find 6, 8, or 10 guys. And they only need a few of them. They don't need them all.
But as far as this season, I still think they can get to the Sweet 16. Because you can step back and say some role player from Australia had the game of his life, and that's what beat you.
Right. And it was a true road game, and obviously you're going to get the postseason, play neutral court, and maybe that'll help you out. So really I think it's like, what can you take from that game that gets you ready for Iowa State? Because if you get a win over Iowa State, you're going to feel great. I mean, going into this, they would have said if you split these 2 games, we feel great, and everybody would have felt great.
Well, yeah, and now Texas Tech's best player is out. Toppin, unfortunate. ACL, same thing.
Yeah.
Basically non-contact, a little more contact than Richie had, but not a whole lot.
Not much.
No, and he goes down. It's like, I've seen this. We've seen this. So with Joe Ingles, he's going up for a layup against, I think it was against Minnesota, and he goes down, and he's done. And so this is the sucky side of the sport, is that these things happen. So the point being that when Tech comes in here in 2.5 weeks, you got an opportunity to win that game. And so we'll see what happens. Maybe they really only have one opportunity to beat a big-time ranked team, because if they beat Tech at home, they didn't have Toppin, blah, blah, blah. But still. What do you got, 5 games to go?
The Big 12,
I think you can win all 5 of them.
The Big 12 has enough respect, though. I could see the discussion, they beat Tech, they didn't have Toppin. Yeah, well, they didn't have Saunders. 2 shorthanded teams, and they gutted it out and won it. I could see that discussion happening in the committee room.
Yeah. Good enough for me.
But you're right about the Iowa State. If they can win that game, on paper, it definitely looks like the toughest of the 5. Not to discount, there's going to be a lot of travel here, going to Cincinnati. Utah just won at West Virginia. So.
But that's going to be hard.
I agree. It's going to be hard.
But you got to do it. You win both those games. I think they can finish it off right, the regular season. I have enough faith in the coaches and the players to do that. And I think now they're gonna play with more of an edge, because they didn't get blown out.
No, it was a competitive game. Again, They made a run. I mean, part of the thing is, guys, and it's tough to ask people to do this forever, right? But you put a ton of energy in the last 5 minutes, and look at the results you got. You were down big to Arizona, again, not quite as big as you were at home. You rallied again. You didn't get quite as close as you got at home, but you got close. I mean, you could feel the nervousness in the crowd, like, this isn't over. There's still time.
Oh, pacemakers in that crowd? They
were working.
Yeah, they were. Those snowbirds.
Let's keep Grandma and Grandpa on track here.
That buy U of A season tickets?
Got their money's worth out of those pacemakers. Yeah.
Yes.
Solid investment.
Yes.
The stress was building in that arena.
It was. There's no question about it.
But back to your point about inbounds passes, they're making that run. What a setback with that turnover and an easy bucket. That was just such a soft giveaway. But they didn't fold at that point. They still came back and tightened it up some more. So there's obviously stuff they can look at the film and, well, we can do better than that. You can absolutely woulda, coulda, shoulda a 7-point game. Look at this possession. Look at that possession.
Yeah, and beating Iowa State's going to be a tall task, but it would also be awesome if you accomplished it, because Iowa State, we just saw what they did Monday.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were just sitting here reading the thing, all those scores about 6 ranked teams going on the road and losing in conference, because it's hard.
Do you know Iowa State's Big 12 road schedule right now? Like their record right now in road games?
46-2.
Well, this season, not.
33-4.
They played every game on the road and then some. They're 3-3, so they're vulnerable on the road.
Well, with that guy's biceps, he's a tough guy. He tells him every game is a road.
Leave Otzelberger alone.
Yeah, that dude. He's at halftime. He's not talking to the team. He's doing curls. He's just lucky he came along in the era where you don't have to wear suits. You can wear the golf shirts.
Yeah. Put on the schmedium and really show them off, huh?
Yes.
Sun's out, guns out.
Right. You Stacy, he couldn't do that.
Iowa in the winter. What are you talking about? Sun's out.
So I think they have an opportunity here to do well. And now it is shocked the world, because not only are most folks who don't root for you doubting you, a significant portion of your own fan base is doubting you.
With good reason. At this point, I got to say.
And Kevin Young talked about that, man. Guy's been a scrapper.
Yeah. So keep scrapping. You're 3-6 in your last 9, but if you beat Iowa State, now you can start trying to put a win streak together. And momentum is a funny thing. You have it until you don't, and you don't until you do. You've talked about that forever. When we were first doing the show, you were talking about it in regard to BYU football, because they'd had the 3 losing seasons, and they made the coaching change. And like when you're winning, you don't think it'll ever end. And when you're losing, you don't think you're ever going to get out of it. But then you look at sports across seasons, across 2 or 3 years, changes like the wind, man.
This is the most volatile sport that we are of our big-time sports in the U.S. that we look at, and it's so unpredictable. I talked about BYU going into New Mexico under Coach Cleveland. Well, just the other day, Texas Tech beating the U of A in Tucson, sitting around, short drive up the freeway in a sterile atmosphere with the coach of a team who's dead man walking. He's got his job for another 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And the Devils beat him.
Go figure.
Yeah. Who would have bet that?
Power of the home court.
Well, I don't think that is the home court. There's no atmosphere in there.
The flukiness and 20-year-olds are up and down, regardless of how talented you are.
Now, they were down on top and got hurt, but that was toward the end of the game, and I believe the Devils had a double-digit lead right at that time.
He did play a lot in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, Saunders was the opening minute, but he played, I think, 32 minutes in the game.
Right.
But I think he is a guy who, they'll run out there 38 if they have to.
Certainly.
Like AJ Dybantsa.
And maybe he could have made a difference. But the point being is there's plenty of examples. And you got Iowa State coming in. This is a phenomenal opportunity for you. And you should be furious, man. Just sit around all day. This is a football game in a sense. They've got to sit around all day and watch the television and hear about all these other teams getting the run. The big game of the day is the Cats going down to play Houston, blah, blah, blah. So here's your opportunity to really show them, man.
Jonathan Tabernary, former BYU player,
He's got something to say?
Hard to believe. I know, right? You're shocked, but it goes to your expectations. Would you live with this? Because this is what he lays out for BYU down the stretch. He's not unbeaten, but he says the Arizona loss was expected with or without Richie. He said, I still think BYU beats one of Iowa State and Texas Tech at home. A W against UCF at home, and then split West Virginia and Cincinnati on the road. That would be 3-2. Could you live with that? Would that be good enough? Or do you feel like they're getting into dangerous territory and the committee might slide them down into a 7-10, 8-9 game?
I don't see them sliding with
AJ.
He's such a big name.
He's such a big name. And to that point, ESPN on their main account, despite the loss, AJ dropped 35 points against number 4 Arizona, and they've clipped buckets together. It's just his highlight film, one after another.
Right. And we know where he made his announcement. Was on their shows, on their network. And I think pretty much everybody has soured on Darren Peterson.
He's just missing too many games.
And he's asking out of games.
Yeah.
AJ's not asking out of games.
18 minutes last night.
Last week when Young said, he was about to pass out, AJ comes in, hears about it, he said, no, I wasn't.
That quote, I think, is just between the player and coach. Like, I want you to play. You want to play, but you got to play at a certain level, and you're not there, and it must be because you're exhausted. And so they hashed out whatever that was. His rebound totals go up. He's playing hard at both ends of the floor, and he's out there for 39 minutes. The passing out, I didn't think the coach was making a point. Wasn't passing out. But you got to play harder. You can't coast through stretches of the game. But the point is,
he's not. No, I think he has to. He's got to pick his spots.
Okay, so the spots can't be competing for rebounds, especially at the defensive end.
Fine. But you're asking him now to play the whole game.
That is the
If he can grab a blow actually on the floor, I'm okay with it. Because you're not coming out.
And meanwhile, the quotes on Peterson, we've had this happen more than a couple times. I didn't anticipate that tonight at all. I thought he was good to go. We only got 18 minutes out of him. That's disappointing because he could have had a really big night.
That's the most pronounced comment
Yeah, that's Bill Self after the game.
has made all season.
Right.
And they're showing it right now on ESPN.
No, there it is. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, and we've all been monitoring this, that is the most critical publicly that Bill Self has said. And because now it's like, well, duh.
Yeah, I know. He looks like an idiot if he doesn't say something now.
Right.
But he's the coach. He's got to be careful what he says in public.
Yeah, I know.
Man,
but he's
all
also Bill Self. That is virtually untouchable because he's had a few scandals that he's been able to skate by. And,
he's still here.
Yeah.
Still coaching, still getting paid, still winning.
Right. And
that was win number 20 for those guys. They won at Oklahoma State, so.
Yeah, we'll see what Peterson does in March. If he's out there playing 33 minutes and they're in the Final Four, all will be forgiven.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up this morning in the 9 o'clock hour, Scotty G is going to join us, and we will look ahead to a big weekend at Nevada, and then they'll be at San Diego State middle of next week. Coming off 3 straight home wins here. They got a nice little streak going. Talk with Scotty G coming up at the top of the hour. And then we will talk Utah Mammoth hockey and Olympic Games with the U.S. women in the final and the U.S. men in the semifinals. So all of that's coming up at 9:30 with Cole Bagley, who covers the Mammoth. Stay with us, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
Joining us on the program right now for Jazz Daily, he is the coach, Tim LaComb. You can hear him, of course, pre-half and post on your radio dial right here, the radio home of the Utah Jazz.
When you just look at it at face value, you're adding a 2-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that is on 5 attempts per night from 3, shooting 36%. Wow. Rebounding is low. It's always kind of been low. I'm hoping maybe Will can get to him like he got to Colin on tempo. It would have, a guy that was voted Defensive Player of the Year. He's blocking 3 shots a game back then. That alongside what I think is probably one of the up-and-coming dominant rim protectors. If Walker and the Jazz find common ground, you look at a team that's really big, but you also look at a team that's very long. This move allows Lowry to go to the 3, and he is an absolute cheat code at 3. It's pretty exciting to think about.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, we're going to call an audible right now. That's what we're going to do.
You see somebody coming up the line?
Yeah, I do. I see him walking up. We're brought to you by University of Utah Health. At University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. See a linebacker walking up the line. Let's talk football just for a minute. It's not a ton of football going on this time of year, but there's some things, and they are important things. The Big 12. Who are the big dogs in the Big 12? If you had to break the league into quarters, I think right now, it'd be pretty close to consensus. Utah,
so quarters
BYU,
is 4.
Yeah, 4 quarters, 16 teams. So I think the top group, if you said right now programs, not just season, and we don't know, there's so many transfers, right? But if you just said, I'll take Texas Tech, ASU, Utah, and BYU and make them my top 4. Well, you've got teams that were 1, 2, 3 last year. You got ASU, who previously won a conference championship and didn't fall that far, even though they had, quarterback health issues.
And receiver.
Is there another program, like Iowa State would have been a good argument, but they just lost their coach. So the program is going into a new phase. He'd been their guy, and Campbell had a really good run there, but he's at Penn State now.
Okay, well,
so I can't put Iowa State in that
group. Why would you put Utah in if you're using that logic?
You could. That's why, and I was going to say argue with the 4. But what the team we're going to talk about is one of the 4, and it's not Utah. And you could. And maybe, I don't know, do you want to go TCU? Do you think Houston's on the way up? And maybe you want to put them in the top quarter of the league?
For
Houston
years, we always heard the sleeping
year.
giant with the Devils, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because of all the perceived advantages.
Yeah.
Whether they were advantages or not,
or whether they were canceled out by disadvantages that were never spoken about.
Right. And I think they were. I think Houston has that opportunity because they have the most fertile recruiting base locally of anybody.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody has that level of talent literally in the metropolitan area as Houston, and they had a phenomenal season.
Right.
So we'll see.
And they have a respected coach from other stops. So maybe you put Houston in and take Utah out because of coaching transition.
I'm not willing to take Utah out.
I think that Utah is probably in just because the perceived handoff is going to be so seamless. Now, it can't be completely seamless. There's a quote floating around about Kyle telling Morgan that, you're still going to – you've been prepped, but there's still a learning curve because you're doing it for the first time. Right.
Morgan acknowledges that.
And if that's why people want to squeeze Utah out of the top 4 –
Morgan did
it's arguable
podcast with David Pollock.
Mm-hmm. Is that where it came up?
And I listened to it.
Yeah.
And he acknowledges it. That there's stuff that it's – and it was just so dramatic right from the start. Because not that they stole the coaches, but the coaches left. Virtually the entire offensive staff left. And Lewis Powell left. Am I missing anybody on defense? Outside of Powell, did anybody else go?
I think they kept one coach on offense and lost one coach on defense.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because Kyle kept the running backs coach.
Right.
And so Ottawa stayed.
Kept Ottawa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's a good recruiter and a good seller and all that. Brings a lot of energy to the program, always has, no matter where he's been. So with that in mind, they're losing the coaches, so I have a little bit of a doubt, and then they're losing their entire offensive line. So there's some doubt there, but they've earned the benefit of the doubt. I think the only way I take Utah out is if they play their way out. They deserve it. McMurphy came up with his playoff predictions.
He thinks they're going to be in.
Yeah, he's got them and TCU, which I think is an absolute slap in the face to BYU. Because right now, in my mind, there's no way I can put Utah ahead of BYU.
Well, BYU just finished second, and then on top of that, they were in a 4-way tie for first, and on top of that, they've won the game these last 2 years. It's like they've got, over these last couple of years, they got everything.
I can put them even if you want to go that far. I'm comfortable with that, but I can't put them ahead. Just like for a decade, there was no way I would have put BYU ahead of Utah. I think it's flipped a little, not as dramatic because that was for a decade. Here, it's just a little bit. It's not a lot of difference, and we saw it was a 3-point game when they played, and the year before was a 1-point game.
You came up with
not a whole lot of difference.
You came up with a little headline here, cruising around the internet. You got a few stops you make because of places you lived and people you know. And this should get the attention of both Ute and Cougar fans because Arizona State, to the degree they're a sleeping giant, the thing we know is their coach has been out there begging, literally, for big-time money to step up. Not that he doesn't appreciate $50,000 and $100,000 donations, because he does. But when you have to raise the kind of money they have to raise, you need bigger numbers.
Well, because I gave him $15,000. Took it out of my 401k.
You did not.
I have since I've been with Trajan Wealth. That thing's been just exploding.
Nice. Nice, but still not true. Entertaining, but not true.
I do what I can.
I believe that.
Then when they went...
Just tell the people the headline. They're dying here.
I gave them $25 when they won the Rose Bowl.
Okay. I hope they spent it wisely years ago.
But now I don't have a landline, so they can't bug me 5 times a week. He has been begging for money. I've got no problem saying that because it's a fact.
Yeah. And he got it. It worked.
Well,
it worked.
They've got an 8-figure donor that gave them, so they're going to be building this indoor. They don't have an indoor. They have a bubble, but they don't have an indoor. And so Dillingham down at the Phoenix station, which is owned by Bonneville, Ryan Hatch runs that thing, used to be up here. He was on this morning, and they got an 8-figure donor.
So that's something between $10 million and $99 million, people.
Blows away my $25. And he says it'll a full field and a half field, which will be both indoors, and it'll be one of the largest facilities in the country. Now, they need it for reverse because it's so blazing hot for half the season,
right?
All of training camp. And what he wants to do is then on game days, that becomes the tailgating central.
Makes sense.
Because in September and most of October,
nobody wants to be out on the blacktop in a parking lot. Yeah.
It's just too hot.
Yeah, it's way too hot.
November's fine.
Right, but September, you still get 110 in September, don't you?
Absolutely.
Certainly.
September's a summer month.
Certainly get 105. You get 110, yeah. You don't need to be standing on blacktop for 3 hours.
So we'll see, what they can do NIL-wise. But he's rallied people. You got to give it to him, man.
And I think it's a combination of winning, because winning's the biggest piece of the puzzle. But that guy's invested a lot of time doing a lot of media after practice. Here he's driving into the studio to be in studio, and he's invested a lot of time selling it. But if you don't get your story out there, how do you expect people to believe in your story? And social media is nice, and it helps, but I just don't think it's enough of a connection.
No, it has to be one-on-one. He has to have FaceTime, and he's got to interact with the boosters, interact with the fans, make himself available, and he has done that. Young guy, I think he's 35 now? His wife just had a second kid. We'll see how that goes, he manages all that stuff, because it's a time-consuming job for sure. They have an opportunity to put to bed the sleeping giant thing.
They're in a league without USC and Oregon and the advantages they had.
Although now Texas Tech has become SC
might be stepping in there, right?
Yeah.
And he's a local guy. And how were there local ties for any of the other guys who come through, even a little bit?
No.
It was always, this coach was at Miami, this coach was at Michigan and West Virginia. Just.
You're thinking of U of A, but yeah, on Rich Rod.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
No. They were always somebody from the outside.
Has Arizona had a local guy?
Well, I mean, is Ron McBride a local guy?
Over time, you can become that. And I'm trying to think of who was the guy who was there when that Desert Storm, Dick Tomey. Dick Tomey might have been.
Became a local guy.
Even wasn't a local guy, he became one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Became a local guy. And Brennan had some history with Tucson.
So there's something there.
But he didn't play there. I think he was a walk-on receiver at UCLA. But he had at least been there.
Brennan might have eyes for another job, but at ASU it looks like if they give him a chance to compete at the highest level,
well, you know what it's going to be?
Stay.
It's going to be what Kalani did.
Yeah. Give him a chance to compete at the highest level, and he'll stay.
And BYU likes to tell you that he stayed because of all the things they got. And they did, and that was part of it. And he said, but I'm a competitor. Now, the three of us were right there when he said that at that press conference. Go look at there's a shot of him sitting at the table, and you can see my big head in the front row. And
you were sitting on the aisle, so it was easy for you to be in the camera.
Yeah. And so he said, but I'm a competitor, which meant but I'm a competitor. What's that, 4 words, 5 words? Help me out.
Depends on if he did the contraction I'm or I am, but it's 4 or 5.
I think he said, but I'm a competitor.
Okay, but I'm a competitor is 4.
They gave me the money I needed to
compete at the highest level. They don't want to compete at the second or third tier,
but it's
especially if they're held accountable for the first tier.
It's interesting to see, can they compete at the highest level? Because you heard Kyle and Jay Hill basically say, well, yeah, we can compete at the highest level now. And they essentially said now, which infers that they couldn't. You can compete at the highest level in the Big 12, but is that the highest level?
In the Big 10, you have to say no. Yeah, off the playoff results the Big 10 has over the last couple of years, I guess you can say 3 now, it's like the Big 10 competes at a higher level than the Big 12. They've got 3 straight national champions, and the Big 12 has lost the 2 playoff games they played. So Kalani stayed at the highest level he could be in the Big 12.
And Tech got worked this year.
Yes. ASU was in overtime. But Tech, they got soundly thumped.
That was surprising.
Yeah, they didn't. There was nothing.
But then Cody Campbell says we're going to double down.
Well, I think what came away from that is the defense competed and slugged it out, but the offense had nothing. The offense was overwhelmed. And they couldn't do anything.
It was. So then they go get Sorsby from Cincinnati. Is that good enough?
Is that a good enough upgrade? Especially when they have to replace everything else.
I think it is a good upgrade, but the rest of the team, I mean, you can have the greatest quarterback ever,
Yeah.
But you gotta fill in the blanks here.
But for ASU, and they probably have to go do it again, but they've gone and done it. And you have to. I mean, Kansas. I don't know if we put them in the second or third tier. Where would you put Kansas? Third tier was off the top of my head what I was going to say. But
maybe lower second.
But I
put TCU in there.
Yeah. Well, TCU and Houston, for
certainly
sure.
Houston.
Yeah. Iowa State maybe keeps it rolling if they made a good hire.
Iowa State, Baylor.
Baylor up and down.
There's a bunch of teams.
I know.
Cincinnati got going,
then didn't.
And then they petered.
Yeah.
And what can Rich Rod do at West Virginia? They had for a massive rebuild. They had a couple of moments there.
Mm-hmm. UCF with Frost, right? And Rich Rod, can you go home again? Both those schools have been really good with those coaches, but can you do it the second time around? College football history says it's much harder, but everything's changing so fast, maybe that doesn't matter anymore. Tell me about your NIL.
That's what's great about this conference, to see who's going to join Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm. But I just don't think that you can argue that any of these teams are at that top tier what the Big Ten is.
Not yet, and maybe never.
Time will tell.
But the good thing is that Utah apparently is going to the Big Ten, so it doesn't matter.
There are a lot of you fans who absolutely believe that, and there's some people who work up at the U who believe that.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
It hasn't happened yet.
Bring it on.
The time isn't here yet, but we're getting
Ford
closer.
Scally versus Kyle Whittingham, 2029. I'm in for it.
So are a bunch of TV networks. They'll be all over that. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
One of Adam Silver's biggest problems is that he is not consistent at all, and he sets all these crazy precedents that he doesn't live up to, or he sets a precedent he could never live up to. He can't sit there and manage Will Hardy's lineup.
If you want to say conduct detrimental to the NBA, that could be every single night in the NBA with what happens with rotations or who's available and who's not available that doesn't apply to the player participation policy. The Jazz can rest Yusuf Nurkic all they want. He's not in the player participation policy, but if suddenly the NBA says, well, that's detrimental to the NBA and we're going to fine you anyways, then this opens a can of worms that you can't enforce every night because you can't fine your teams every single night they step on the court.
Because he doesn't care about policy and never has. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The John Watson Northern Utah High School Players of the Week are Ava Smith of Layton Christian and Zach Hancock of Fremont High School. Smith scored 28 points as the Eagles beat Manti in the first round of the playoffs. Hancock had 25 and went over Clearfield, followed by 24 and 8 in the road win at Bonneville. See why new and used car buyers give John Watson Chevrolet more 5-star reviews than any other Chevy dealer in Utah. John Watson Chevrolet, your 5-star Chevy dealer. Scotty G's coming up to talk a little Utah State basketball. They are flying high now, picking up win number 23 last night. He's going to join us in the next segment. Cole Bagley on the Olympics. The U.S. women's hockey team is in the gold medal game later today against their arch rivals from Canada. The men are in the semifinals against Slovakia tomorrow. Meanwhile, PK, the Utah Jazz get back to work tomorrow night. Full tank mode, 26 games to go. Don't take your foot off the gas now. You've got something to gain, maybe something really good, and you got everything to lose, including the pick.
Right.
So whether you give them the old DNP coach's decision or you find an injury, the goal now is to go 6-20 at best in the final 26 games.
I'm big on doubling down. The tanking in general has made a mockery of it, right? I think we understand that, of the competitive nature that sports is supposed to be. Okay, with that in mind, double down on it. You think it's a mockery what we've done? You haven't seen anything. You haven't seen anything yet. We're going to show you. We're going to stick it in your face.
They're going to have to. They've got 5 teams in the league with a worse record. They have the 6th worst record. And they've got like 7 games left against those teams, and there's no telling how many other games against teams that look relatively mediocre, based on who those guys are sitting when the Jazz play them, could be at the same talent level. As we're going to see a lot of guys sit down the stretch.
I want to see Markkanen take hook shots from 3.
Really make a mockery of it.
Yeah, and over at the Delta Center, they're playing as their Utah. The Jazz have the ball on offense. We're playing Sweet Georgia Brown over the speakers. Whatever that tune is.
We were talking as we were kind of leaving the studio yesterday. You might have actually ducked out with Jake and Ben about the thought of, what about buying Nurkic out and letting him go find a playoff team? Then you don't have to play any games or find anything to do. Just like go find a playoff team, and then the Jazz lineup just becomes smaller, which encourages more guys to drive to the hoop, and you give up more layups and you lose more games.
Well, I don't
need him pulling down 12
I don't
rebounds.
know that teams are dying to get Nurkic.
No, but if somebody needs a backup center who's going to the playoffs and he can sign for, I don't know, whatever the minimum is for 25, 30 games left in the season.
Well, just sit him.
That might happen too.
He's a veteran dude.
DNP coach's decision.
Yeah.
DNP-CD.
Let him go back to Czechoslovakia and race horses or whatever
He's had a couple triple-doubles.
Jokic does.
Harness racing or whatever they call it, yeah.
Yeah. He's way into that.
Jokic.
Jokic is my guy. He just basically flips his nose and his fingers at everybody. Hey, you don't like me? Tough.
He does. He's got a drummer that only he can hear, and that's the beat he marches to.
I have a friend who has a friend is a neighbor of Jokic over in Denver.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so my friend tells me, his friend tells him, that dude is the most average guy you've ever been around for the level of athlete that he is.
Stardom and wealth and everything.
He said that this guy, you're not going to do it so much in the winter, but when the weather gets better and he takes out the garbage can and you're out there, he'll come up and talk to you.
Awesome.
Just like we all do when the weather gets better. You hardly see your neighbors this time of year unless they come into your home, but you're outside and you go out to water the flower and he's over there. He says, he walks across the street.
It's funny. I met a new neighbor. They just moved in. One of the houses across the street was sold, and they haven't really been around. And I just met him yesterday. I can't imagine if that had been Jokic.
Right.
That had been Jokic walking down there, He's like, yeah, you haven't been around a lot. I've seen a car come and go once or twice, but the driveway goes up a hill and isn't really accessible from the street to chat with him or anything. He goes, oh, well, yeah, we've been in Dallas. He sold a business. Yeah, well, I've been playing for the Nuggets, so I'm only here part-time. I got to go home because I'm from the other side of the world.
So I think Nurkic is an easy guy to sit.
Markkanen and Keontae George. Two guys who might drop 30 on you.
Easily.
What do you do about them?
And without batting an eyelash.
Offensive end of the floor, those two guys. Defensive end of the floor, the 2 7-footers. Make yourself small. Everybody else we'll see. Although I do wonder a little bit against the quality of competition they're going to be facing here if some of these other guys, Sensabaugh could go off and drop 30. Collier against some of these teams. I get their games are not fully developed and there's still plenty of flaws and all that, but against the competition they're going to face down the stretch, those guys could destroy some of those teams if they're having a good night.
Uh-huh.
All right, DJ and PK, the Jazz will sort that out. They're in Memphis against the Grizzlies tomorrow night, and John Moran is out at least 2 more weeks before he's reevaluated. And Memphis has obviously traded Jaren Jackson Jr., so how good a team is Memphis rolling out there? They're 13 games under 500 and well below the line even for a play-in spot. So they got nothing to play for here. That's a totally winnable game for the Jazz tomorrow. DJ and PK, when we come back, Scotty G in studio. The Aggies are flying. We will get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined by the radio voice of the Utah State Aggies and our former producer and all-around fabulous guy, Scotty G. Scotty.
That was a while ago.
Scotty's not
20 years.
half the man that he was.
That's true, too. Scotty, so we've known each other like 20 years from when you produced the show, right?
Actually,
or
about
more.
a third.
Oh, yeah. 2. So
No, I was 05.
05 when you jumped over?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, no,
you're
when
right.
I came to the station was like 03, 04, around there.
All right.
My first football season was the 04 season.
We've known you more than 20 years.
Yes.
Have you ever been
Long time.
this pumped up about an Aggie basketball team? And if so, was it the Sam Merrill team?
Yes.
That's the only one, though?
Yeah, the Sam Merrill, Nemish Keita team. But even that team wasn't great in the regular season. You know, they were dealing with the injuries, and they kind of limped into the tournament and ended up, winning that game, and then COVID shut it down. But I haven't seen a regular season quite like this. This team is humming along nicely.
23-3.
Yeah.
And really only that UNLV debacle at home where you're like, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like that one back.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Grand Canyon on the road. But Grand Canyon's a good team. I mean, they just went into Viejas. Yeah.
Yes,
you're not taking ownership of Grand Canyon.
100% he is.
Oh, get out of here.
He got a degree.
He got a TG certificate there. He is totally taking that. Oh, yeah. I mean, seriously.
I've walked the halls of Grand Canyon.
When they moved it, when the now moved, it's about time we got to the Mountain West. We got some real competition. Oh, he's tried to stuff on
I would
Grand
prop
Canyon
up Dominguez Hills more than Grand Canyon.
I didn't go to Dominguez Hills.
But your wife did, which Scotty didn't know when he trashed Cal State Dominguez Hills. Driving by some freeway exit.
She's never forgiven him.
Yeah,
I don't blame
This
her.
dude doesn't even have a master's. What the crap would he know?
And I mean, if you dig down deep enough, the Bachelor is still a little iffy.
Oh, yours?
No. I think we're good.
It doesn't matter.
Well, here's my thought. That they're going to win the regular season. We'll see what happens in the conference tournament. I don't think they need to win it to get there.
No.
They may win it, they may not win it, and they'll be competitive. Maybe they'll lose a close game or something. Who knows? Then they're going to the NCAA tournament, and they have an excellent chance to win their first game, and then they'll lose their second game, and then we'll see what Jerrod Calhoun wants to do. So with all that in mind, you spent the better part of Tuesday, because we're off Monday, telling me that dunk at the end of the Memphis game really mattered.
See, all morning long, I was like, okay, what weird angle is PK going to take me?
We know how the story's going to end.
I knew.
But yet you told me that dunk, oh my gosh,
I knew it.
That changed the axis of the earth and how it rotates.
I love this
Talk
so much.
Talk about a power dribble.
I mean, come on. That dunk, you spent 3 hours justifying that dunk.
Yeah. Well, about an hour and a half.
They're going to win the conference.
Not that half.
They're going to go and maybe win the conference tournament. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect their seed that much. They're very good chance to win the first round game.
Yes.
Lose in the second round.
Yeah.
And then we got to hold our breath with Calhoun because he's going to get a multitude of offers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be like Sprinkle where he's literally negotiating with Washington in Vegas while the tournament's going on. I'm not saying Calhoun will do that. Life is different now. And with all that in mind, somehow that dunk against Memphis changed everything.
So let me peel the onion back here a little bit because I want to know what you really think.
I just told you what I really think.
You'll never know.
Was it classless?
The light is on. The light is on. You'll never know.
I wouldn't have done it. It's an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
I understand.
All three of them or just the third one?
The last one.
The last
Okay.
one. Okay.
Literally the last one.
There were three. If you didn't see it, they're like 3 and 45
No,
seconds.
I'm talking about the last one.
Okay, yeah.
This
Yeah.
was literally the last one.
All right.
Hardaway played in the NBA.
Yes.
And injuries derailed his career. He was very good.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously he got injuries, cut him at the knees, basically. And you don't do that. So he's coming at it from an NBA perspective.
Yes.
And so he sees that, and he played North Texas on Thursday, has to fly all the way to friggin' Logan, Utah to get his butt kicked. They're not very good this year. And, yeah, I understand exactly where he's coming from. You didn't need to have that dunk, and I don't care what curling boy Ken Palm says, that dunk didn't change anything and will not change anything. They'll lose in the second round, and then we'll see what happens with Calhoun, whether he comes back or not, and away we go. That dunk was meaningless. But you two spent the whole time telling me that it's going to change everything. You needed that. Oh, the way the game is, and the analytics today, and blah, blah. Oh, give me a bleep and break. Come on.
You good?
I'm even better.
I bet you are. Curling boy? We're taking personal shots at Ken Pomeroy?
Uh-huh.
By the way, I've not seen Ken that excited as when I asked him about curling. Yeah. That dude lit up like a Christmas tree.
Right.
He was extremely excited about that. Okay, by the way.
We'll nail him next week or two.
I will.
On that.
So Spencer Nelson, sitting next to me doing color, could not talk. He was so angry about that.
He did not like the third dunk at all.
He didn't like the second, and he definitely didn't like the third.
Yeah.
And because they could have ran out the clock on the second, and then there's the third dunk, and he went quiet. Now, he doesn't talk a lot anyway, but he's like, I can't talk about this. I'm so mad because he's of the Stu Morrill, tree where you don't do that stuff. You don't rub people's noses in it.
Or at least lay it in.
Here's the thing, Jerrod Calhoun.
That right there, important distinction.
Yeah, the windmill.
Which asking a kid with all the adrenaline in the arena is going nuts. I get why he threw it down. I get it, but honestly, it would have felt different if he'd laid it in.
But I'm looking over at Calhoun, and Calhoun's giving the signal like, let's go. Let's go. And so, I mean, he looks at his coach. His coach gives him the green light, so he's like, I'm going to put on a show here.
Oh, I don't blame the kid.
Oh, no, I don't blame him at all. And frankly, Calhoun, that's just his DNA. I think that he's using the analytics, but I think deep down the dude is just he wants to cut throats. I have not seen a coach that cold-blooded in a long time. Now, the analytics, I agree. Is 2 points going to matter? Is 4 points going to matter? Not really.
Yeah,
who cares if somebody won a game by 18 or by 24?
Okay, Crow.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Tuesday, that's what they told me.
No, I know.
It mattered.
I know it can. But come
that's
on,
what it told me.
But you and I don't.
Curling boy told me it'll make a difference.
But you and I don't look at scores and think, oh, they only won by 18, not by 24. They're not really that good. There's a difference between winning by 1 and winning by 10, for sure.
Yeah.
But once you start winning by 20,
you want to win by 9, not by 2. I understand.
I don't know if I'd take the risk to lose the 2.
Yeah, there's a little bit of difference there.
Yeah, if you could run the ball down the field,
which they were doing,
with Luke Staley, 18 yards at a time, I'm all about it.
Yeah, but Matt Berry, let's. Was that Beck?
That was Beck.
Oh, it was Beck.
It was a freshman quarterback in his own end of the field.
Yeah, I remember at Stanford, right? Yeah.
Set a historically programmed low with only 25 passing yards.
There's definitely something to be said to have the offense put the game away so the defense can't blow it because they make it a 2-score game.
So you're saying that Calhoun wants to be aggressive, and I'm supposed to believe, and then
Ken Pomeroy green lights it.
Yeah.
Well, and then he. This is where I really get cynical. This is where my East Coast comes in. That it's going to look good for the selection committee. I call BS. It's going to look good on the Big 12 and Big 10 job openings.
Look at you. I beat Memphis by 24 instead of 20.
Along with this, and
he
this.
Is okay. So
if he goes to the Sweet 16, my gosh, he's going to have. Take your pick.
I don't want to channel.
That's a heck of a coach.
I don't want to channel Phoenix PK. I want to channel New Jersey PK, because that's who he is. Like he is. I want to go Temple of Doom, rip out your heart and show it to you. He's that kind of mentality.
But I don't want to hear that it's because of the analytics this season. It's to make himself look good for future jobs. Get out of town.
I think it's to embarrass a coach and embarrass a program.
And to make himself look good.
To make his team look good. And his byproduct of it, is going to be some opportunities down the line,
He should.
Yeah.
I support it 100%.
Hey.
I think he's a great coach. I told you the other day when you had me on, of all the guys that have come through since Stu, he's the best.
From an X's and O's standpoint, it's not even close, honestly.
Well, what other standpoint where is someone else better?
Well,
because I think aside from X's and O's, his attention to detail. Like, I fully believe he already knew Ken Pom's answer. He wasn't guessing. He knew because he had conversations. Anyone who's so detail-oriented that he comes into town and wants to meet with a politician and a church leader, like, tell me what it's like here. Tell me what the standards are. Tell me what I need to know so I and my team can be successful.
He met with the Archbishop?
He met with a bishop, but not the Archbishop.
The Archbishop of Cache County. Okay. That's in Godfather 4. We'll explain that in the next Godfather. So,
does that even exist?
Godfather 4?
Yeah.
No, they shut it down after 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Goodfellas.
Yeah, right.
Which was better than 3.
But the guy is super detail-oriented.
Yeah, it's super detail-oriented.
And the fundraising he talked to us about and all that, But you're right. He was if he was born in Ohio and grew up and played, I think, in Ohio in college and all that. But he must have a grandparent from Jersey.
And he's of the perspective of he plays a little bit of mind games with his players, and he treats them like I think
Templin for sure, right?
From a motivation standpoint, he pulls all the right strings, and the players sometimes team up and absolutely can't stand the guy, but they unify behind a hatred of him. And so, honestly, I think he's about as good.
Rick from Jerrod's 101.
But I think it's been really, like, there's been Craig Smith is Craig, and I love Craig. Craig is like the most personable guy on the planet. Danny Sprinkle's one of the toughest SOBs. Ryan Odom was just a savant when it comes to basketball. But you throw everything in together, and you have Jerrod Calhoun. And, I think wherever he's at next year, he's going to be making a lot of money and doing very good things. That guy's going to win a final. That guy's going to go to a Final Four somewhere with a team here in the near future.
Wow.
So this weekend, no big deal. Take him into Reno. Wow. Nevada's only lost 2 home games.
You like
year.
how San Jose took him behind the woodshed?
87-71.
Yeah.
Jerrod Calhoun is going to coach
a team into the Final Four.
Of course, he's the same one who told us that Mikhail Hillstead will be a starter by the end of his first year at BYU.
I made one. I didn't know about Bear Bachmeier. It should have been him. It should have been McKay Hillstead. I didn't know Bear Bachmeier was the second coming of Joe Montana. Nobody saw that coming.
Only if you listen to the morning show from June on.
Oh, stop it.
There might have been somebody who told you that Bachmeier was going to be the starter.
Inside the program, they knew what they wanted. Yeah. They had to make him do it.
Yeah.
But they thought he would do it. They expected he would do it, and they wanted him to do it.
Okay, they wanted him to do it.
They did want him to do it.
Did they really expect him to do it?
I don't know if they expected the season to that level, but
the whole way he was going to start.
Yeah.
Bull.
That's not bull. That is not bull.
That is BS.
Back me up, DJ.
He told me that a long time ago.
KSL.com. I only wrote 5 friggin' stories on it.
I'm not buying that.
Josh Furlong, and got him in on Friday.
No.
I told him, I'm sending you another story that says Bachmeier is going to be the starter, and he laughed. You got him on Friday when you do your 60 and 60. Ask Josh. He'll remember the conversation.
You pull me up a link. Because I bet there was like you know what? If the stars align, it wouldn't surprise me if Bear Bachmeier was the starter.
Because I can't give up my sources. You don't do that.
Well, you didn't say he's the starter.
They wanted him to be the starter.
I agree with that.
They thought he would be the starter. They expected him to be the starter, but they made it a competition because they had to put him under some kind of pressure to see how he would perform under pressure. You can't turn on the lights and put 65,000 people in the stadium and a quality opponent on the other sideline until you get to the season. There's no exhibition games in football. But they wanted it. They thought it. They expected it.
Okay.
But there was a chance there. If he went out and threw 2 picks the first day and 2 picks the second day and 2 picks the third day and McKay was looking up, then they would have gone the other direction. But they never thought that would happen.
So you're saying there's a chance. That's what it boiled down to.
That's what it is. Because they had to put him under pressure. They can't
Got me under pressure.
Sing it. All right. So are the Aggies going to win the regular season then, or share it? Yes. You've already got a W in Reno mentally because Nevada just lost to San Diego State and then they got blown out by San Jose.
If they beat Nevada, they'll win it. Yeah, because even if they lose to San Diego State,
they're going to win it.
Somebody else.
They may win the conference tournament. They got a good chance to win the first round. They'll lose in the second round, and then we'll hold out.
That dunk was the difference between the Elite Eight and being bounced in the round of 32.
Well, if you listen to
I don't even remotely believe
you would have thought so.
You don't even remotely believe that.
Who's going to be?
Well, I didn't believe it on Tuesday either, but homeboys painted me in that corner there.
I listened.
You don't listen to Squad.
Then how did I know about Curling Boy?
Because I tweeted that out. I'm surprised you're like, well, I was in the gym and I was listening to Phoenix radio and these guys said this and this and this.
I was. Well, you don't want to know what I was doing when I was listening.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Attaboy. Good for you. Who says romance is dead?
This wasn't romance.
That was not what he was saying. I know exactly what he's saying.
I know.
You don't want to know. Yeah.
Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Aggies?
Sheesh.
Mikhail's dead.
See, that's what you want me to say. I know what you want me to do. And I'm not. They expect McKay Hillstead to be the starter.
Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Aggies? I'm giving you an opportunity to redeem yourself.
Wow. I'll go McKay right now. And then, come August, you said emphatically McKay Hillstead is going to be the starter.
Do you think
and you're effing wrong.
Okay. Do you think it's McKay 60-40, 80-20, or you're 100% sure it'll be McKay?
I'll go 60-40. I think that's a fair number. There's a freshman out of Texas they really like, and that I think they assume eventually will be the starter, if not by the end of the year. But week one
where
starter.
Where does McKay sit with all of us completely confused by transfer rules now? And him not playing. Where does McKay sit in eligibility?
Geez, your guess is I don't have no idea.
No, he's one.
The Hawks need to decide that.
He's one lawsuit away from another year.
Yeah, he didn't get to the lawsuit. He's a redshirt freshman right now. I don't know.
Well, he's not a senior. So it won't be a one and done like it was with Pig Farmer.
Yeah.
Barnes.
Well, Barnes was there for 2 years.
Yeah, but
1 year as the starter. Yeah.
I meant as a starter.
Yeah.
And then that's good.
I would love, by the way, for that guy to sue and get another year. That season he put on was with one of the worst offensive lines in the history of college football.
Is his body healed yet?
I don't think so. I don't think he wants to go. The beating that guy took was just unbelievable.
I know it was, and that's why Broncos salivated. The guy just kept getting up from the 8 count every freaking game, 5 times a game.
Yeah.
And he was dynamic. It was good to see him have the success that he had because he's a real tough dude. And I think it's important for them, obviously, to shore up the offensive line and get a quarterback in there and then be big-time competitive in the first season in the Pac-12.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't see that the schedule makers didn't do him much of a favor with the home and home with Boise State.
What's that about?
I don't know.
They didn't have enough games scheduled because they're in a smaller league. There's 8 teams, so you have 7 league games, and they can't find games on this short of notice. So they're just like, well, we'll play each other because everybody else's schedule.
Everybody waits for UNLV to
pretty full.
Come on over. Then they got a balanced schedule. Then off you go.
But they don't want to?
I think they do now.
But they didn't a year ago.
No, because they were promised a lot of money, and that money's not coming through right now.
Oh, for TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and they were going to give all these buyouts that they were going to take from the teams leaving. Now the Pac-12 teams are suing, saying we're not going to give you that money, and now that money's all tied up, and UNLV's like, hey, where's our cash? So,
yeah. Well, it makes sense that they should go.
And you never want to keep money away from somebody in Vegas that you owe them, or you might lose a kneecap.
Exactly. And he's speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I've been in Vegas with him for a week at a time.
Scotty one kneecap Jerrod.
Yeah.
I mean, his transition.
Saul from the Tropicana doesn't mess around.
His transition from the Vegas to Utah, it was seamless.
Oh, I was looking at Jake Hatch because Jake was talking about being at the Orleans with his daughter in the cheerleading thing. I'm like, is Seamless still there?
All right, Scotty, on that note, we'll let you go. Get mentally prepared for that show at noon today.
Hey, you know who's coming on today? Who's our co-host today?
Who's your curling fan today?
Well, I would love to have him break down curling. The one, the only, Kevin Graham. KG for 3 hours today.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Well, you never know with him. He may have a different offer by the get to hour 3.
And he's listening right now, too. An hour and a half into the show, he's like, I'm out. Hey, Boston called.
Or Pittsburgh. Or Columbus.
What market has
Or
New
Dallas. Or San Francisco.
Hey,
how am I doing?
Hey, can we be nice to the guy? I need to get 3 hours of
New York.
Yeah, New York.
You worked in New York?
Yeah.
Phoenix. I left out Phoenix. You're right.
San Francisco.
2. Sing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a community that is eagerly and anxiously waiting the second coming. For Graham, it'd be the 5th coming.
I'm out.
When we come back, Cole Bagley, Olympic hockey. He covers the Utah Mammoth. The women are in the gold medal game today. The men are in the semifinals tomorrow. We'll talk with Cole Bagley next right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, we are brought to you in part by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800. Visit the website at trajanwealth.com. Mm-hmm. Talked about a lot of stuff here today, PK. The NBA, Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine shut down for the season. Sacramento on 12 wins has the worst record in the NBA right now, and they're missing arguably their two best players, or maybe not even arguably their two best players. Steph Curry is out for the Warriors. Ja Morant is out for 2 more weeks for the Grizzlies before he's reevaluated. Kyrie Irving is shut down for the year from an ACL that happened last year. The Jazz have 26 games left. I think it's really important that they lose 20 of them. Win 6, you sit on 24 wins. 25 is a nice round number, and I think they'd like to avoid it.
Okay.
Turns out maybe they'll get there and it'll be okay. Who knows? But I expect that they have spent weeks ago, they doped out, hey, where's everyone going to finish?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back and, there's always a few outliers, and so you can recalibrate. I can't believe they didn't do that over the All-Star break. But it's interesting to see what kind of lineups they run out here, because I don't expect much when they come back to action tomorrow night. They will be at Memphis. And I think 3 of their first 4 games are winnable. At Houston, they should lose, but 2 home games with New Orleans are winnable. And at Memphis, with no Morant and no Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously, that's a winnable game. All right, the Utah Mammoth will return to action here shortly. Cole Bagley, Utah Mammoth insider for KSL Sports, joins us now. Cole, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How are we doing?
Good. The men's hockey is down to the semifinals. And Cole's interview is brought to you by Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. Have you been surprised by anything you've seen in this tournament, or is this pretty much we're sitting right where you thought we'd be right now?
Yeah, I think for the most part, we're sitting right where everybody kind of imagined, with the United States, Canada, and Finland in the Final Four. I think Slovakia is maybe the one surprise. You look at their roster, and there's not really any NHL stars on that team. It's a lot of, third and fourth line guys. It's, minimum contract guys. It's guys that are being scratched or on waivers. And so I think they've surprised some people, but, their path was a little bit easier. But now the United States will have an opportunity to play Slovakia. It's a team they need to take seriously. There's no night off in the Olympics. It can, swallow you alive, just as we've seen it do to some teams. So I'd say that's the only surprise. But, with those 3 teams, U.S., Finland, and Canada in the semifinals, I think things are shaping out the way that most people expected them to.
Okay, you say you got to take them seriously, but I'm still thinking that you think that they're going to win. So with that in mind, assuming, and when it's just for radio's sake here and the sake of discussion that they win, I know it's not an assumption, but we'll go on that line of thought. Who do you think they would play in the final, and then who do you dope that out in terms of what you think the odds would be?
Yeah, I mean, we're on a collision course for the United States and Canada in the gold medal game, and that's what everybody wants, right? The 2 best squads in the world with, arguably all-star lineups, from top to bottom. Every single line is a line that can make you pay. And so I would say that I'd be surprised if that's not what it is. I do think that Canada is going to have a little bit tougher time facing off against Finland. They've got a pretty good lineup as well. They've got a few stars on their team and, guys like Mikko Rantanen and what have you. So I'd say that Canada has drawn the tougher semifinal as opposed to the United States. But as I said before, it's the Olympics, right? You have one bad period, you have one bad shift, and suddenly you're trailing by a goal or 2, and all of a sudden, you're done. Your Olympics are over. I mean, for the 4 teams remaining, all of them will at least compete for a medal when all is said and done. But it's gold or bust for the United States. It's gold or bust for Team Canada. So both these teams will definitely have a lot of work to do and a good challenge if they want to meet in the final.
Semifinals Friday afternoon, 1 o'clock. A lot of people are going to be watching. And will they see Keller play? He's played a little bit in 2 games, but not a lot, and he sat completely in the first 2 games. What are your expectations for what kind of ice time he might see here in the last 2 games in the semi, and whether it's the gold or bronze game?
Yeah, yesterday was tough for Keller. He had a really good game when he finally entered the lineup against Germany. He played his game, a game that a lot of Mammoth fans are very familiar with. He's a very good facilitator. He plays with speed. He's confident on the puck. He battles in the dirty areas. So that earned him a spot in yesterday's game against Sweden. But unfortunately, he only took 6 shifts. He played a team low 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and I don't think he saw any ice time after his initial shift in the second period. And so through most of the second and then all of the third, and then, of course, in the overtime, Keller didn't touch the ice. I'd assume that there was something the coaching staff wasn't necessarily pleased with and decided to bench him for the rest of the game. So, I'm not entirely sure. It is tough to say right now. It's obviously, that spot is up for grabs between him and Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor played the first 2 games for the United States. He did not play well, so they gave Keller a chance. He did play really well against Germany, but then yesterday, must have just done something that the coaches didn't like. So I'd say it's up in the air for right now. But if he does play, I would expect, short minutes, probably, less than 10, at most 12. That just kind of seems to be what they're doing with some of those guys like that. So, yeah, we'll see how things shape out. If they skate tomorrow before the game and we see some lines, and if not, it'll be, game time before we know if he's going in or not.
Well, we saw that he used some slights as motivations in the past. Do you think he does it again?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you guys saw, Sam Farnsworth interviewed Keller right after the game yesterday and, was asking him questions about Quinn Hughes' overtime winner and, just his reaction and, in his demeanor and the way he kind of carried himself, you could tell that he was disappointed, obviously thrilled with the result, but disappointed in himself. Just his tone and, kind of his body language. Keller's a really competitive guy. He's one of the most competitive athletes I've ever been around. And I'm sure that he's, just eating himself, with the way that he played. So, yeah, I think that if he gets an opportunity to play again, I would expect him to come out with juice, to come out with energy and to, put forth a really good effort.
What about the other 3 guys who represent the Mammoth and were representing their different countries? What do you think of the way they've performed? What's their Olympic experience been like?
Yeah, for Karel Vejmelka was interesting. He didn't touch Olympic ice. He actually only dressed for one of the games, and he was a backup, and they never called his number. So Vejmelka didn't play in the Olympics, which was pretty surprising, especially the way that the tournament went for Czechia. Obviously, they pushed Canada to the brink. Yesterday, forced overtime. Dostal, who was their starting goaltender, played really, really well. But, you have to imagine that if they would have given Vejmelka some minutes in the preliminary rounds, they may have had better seeding and not have been forced to go through Canada to try to get on to, further in the tournament. So that one's interesting. I'm not entirely sure why they benched him. He definitely, at a minimum, was the second best goaltender, if not, should have been the number 1 option based on how he's played over the last 6 to 8 weeks. So that was surprising. In terms of JJ Peterka, I think he had a good tournament. I think he scored a goal, had a couple assists. It was, just a good opportunity. Germany wasn't as deep as some of these other teams, so he was playing in the top 6 and, playing along a guy like Leon Draisaitl, who's, an MVP candidate every season. Just good experience for him. He played a lot of minutes, averaged, I think, between 24 and 26. So a lot of positives for Peterka. Olli Maatta, it's been a good opportunity to play, right? I mean, he's been a healthy scratch for the Mammoth for a few months now. And, so for him to be able to play hockey, to play it at a high level, he hasn't played a ton of minutes either. I think he's averaging about 9, 10, 11. But, his team has an opportunity to play for a medal. They'll face Canada, and I would assume that, we'll see a little bit of Olli Maatta. So overall, I think a good tournament for the Mammoth. Good amount of playing time, but obviously it's not a bad thing for Mammoth fans that Vejmelka got to rest. He didn't risk injury. He should be fully ready to go when he comes back. And then for these other guys, a good amount of minutes and an opportunity to play hockey at a really high level while avoiding, to this point, avoiding injury.
You know the Mammoth schedule then going forward? Not when the games. I'm talking about between now and when this season resumes.
Yeah, so they're skating. They've been skating. They skated the last 2 days. They've got practice here in about hour 45 minutes. So yeah, they're it's kind of like a mini training camp right now. Guys are starting to make their way back. Anybody who was not at the Olympics had to report 2 days ago. And then as guys fall out of the Olympic tournament, they'll start to make their way back. So there's a chance that we may see JJ Peterka today. And if not today, probably Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, they're just trying to get back in the swing of things. Long practices. The last 2 days they practiced about 2 hours. And they're just trying to get guys, kind of back into skating shape, and then going through, some of their offensive schemes. They did a lot of power play yesterday. So, yeah, it's, like I said, kind of a mini training camp between now and when they resume next week.
The Kings are the team that suffered the major injury in the Olympic tournament, and they are battling the Mammoth in the wild card race. They're trailing. They're down 4 points. How badly are they hurt by that?
Yeah, it's a valuable defenseman, to lose to injury for the rest of the year. It's next man up mentality, on every roster. And, the Kings also got an upgrade via trade right before the Olympics in acquiring one of the best goal scorers in the league in Panarin. So I don't know that it'll really hurt them that much. Of course, you're not going to necessarily replace that guy, talent for talent. But, I would expect that, all the teams that are in the wild card race in the West, it is going to be a dogfight right down, I think, to the very last day of the regular season. I mean, there's 6-7 teams that are all within about 7 or 8 points. So, for Utah, it's just about getting back to consistency. And I talked with Ian Cole yesterday and asked him, Ian Cole is one of the best veterans on the team. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's been in the league for almost 2 decades. And he just said that right now it's all about helping everyone on the team understand what playoff intensity is and that they need to play with that kind of intensity, starting next week. And he said that, look, we even had that discussion before the Olympics, helping guys understand the mentality we need to have. So, regardless of, what's going on with their opponents, Utah just needs to stay focused and, play their game.
U.S. and Canadian women, they start in about an hour and a half here. You got U.S. winning the gold medal game?
Yeah, I mean, they should, right? They set an Olympic record in the semifinal, posting 5 straight shutouts. They've outscored their opponents 31-1 over the course of the tournament. They haven't allowed a goal since before the opening ceremonies. They just absolutely dominated the Canadians about a week ago, 5-0. So, yeah, the United States is definitely the gold favorites. It would take, I think, a perfect effort from Canada to pull off the upset. So, yeah, I'm expecting gold for the women.
He's Cole Bagley. You can read him at KSLSports.com, and you can follow him on social media, and you can hear him here once a week talking hockey with DJ and PK. Cole, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week when the NHL's going at it again.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
There's Cole Bagley, DJ and PK. Your feedback next. Stay with us. We are brought to you by University of Utah Health. At University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org.
Uh-oh. I got feedback.
You've got feedback.
Not the feedback you are anticipating.
All right. What do you have?
You can see at the top of the message there where
So we had Scotty G in earlier in the show, and then he brought up that he's going to be co-hosting with Kevin Graham today from noon to 3.
Yes.
Kevin will be doing it. Technology now allows us to do radio from Charlotte. No problem. And so then we were talking about him coming back.
If they let you.
Yeah, of course, obviously. And that... and then, of course, we started recounting. You referred to Kevin, people waiting for the second coming here in Utah, but for Kevin, it'd be the 5th. Honestly, I think it'd be the 4th, but, maybe I lost count. And then on top of that, then we recounted all the cities that he has worked in, and he texted you. I don't think he texted me.
Because I was leading.
Because you dropped the second coming line. That's the one that got him.
And
you are so funny.
And I said that he's scheduled to do the 3 hours unless in the third hour he gets a better offer.
Oh, that was nice. But I'll bet when he sent that, it was the second coming line that did it. That was the crescendo right there. The band played for the whole segment, but that was the high note.
Kevin's really good in radio, man. That's a fact. There's no doubt about it. I wish he would have been here all these years.
100%. He's very good at radio. He's very good at management, but he's also good on the air. I mean, we have him on every week for a reason.
He's excellent.
I mean, we like him and all that, but he's good. There's a lot of people we like, and we don't have him on every week.
Right.
Sacramento Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis are both having, hi Kevin, bye Kevin, are both having season-ending surgery. What will the Jazz do? Brandon, I'm not sure PK realizes the NBA will ultimately punish the Jazz for tanking by giving them the lowest possible pick. The 8th overall pick is not likely to be a game changer, hardly worth 4 years of tanking, the fines, and compromising the integrity of the team.
That really blows out the integrity of the league. The league then, if the Jazz go ahead and only win 6 games, keep the pick, that'll be a significant storyline because as far as I know, and back me up if I'm right or wrong here, the fine that was levied against them was the largest for tanking. So that means if they keep the pick, that'll be a storyline. So the league will be under big-time scrutiny to make sure that it's legitimate more than ever.
And the league hates the conspiracy theory that was out there. Story yesterday, we referenced it, but it's not our story, but it's out there on social media. 2 unnamed NBA people believe that Cooper flagged Dallas was fixed. It's a big market. Interest was going to flag there with new ownership. Cuban wasn't there to sell tickets and lead the circus, and everyone was just disgusted with the Luka Doncic trade. I mean, they were angry. They were like the franchise moved kind of angry. You know, the way people in Cleveland and Seattle have been moved.
I wanted to do away with the franchise. They got the ultra big flag. We're going to get the ultra big Dybantsa. I think of all the years, they can't mess around this year.
If the Jazz stay where they are, there's like a 90, I think it's a 96% chance. Didn't you say 96, Ben? Yeah, Ben's he's nodding. Yes, 96. If they stay where they are, sixth worst record, there's a 96% chance they keep the pick. I mean, they could move top 4. They could also slide back to 7-8. There's actually be no mathematical way to draft 5th again.
There's a 1.5% chance for Flagg to go to Dallas, and he did.
Yep. And there's still a 3-point whatever chance for them to slide back to 9th and lose the pick if they're 6th.
That won't happen.
I wouldn't think so.
They'll move up. AJ's coming.
Jake and Ben are coming. They are up next. And then Kevin Graham is here at noon. Bye, Kevin. Bye, y'all. See you later. Jake and Ben are next.